what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us.
And welcome back. Here's the live numbers coming in. We're at almost 80,000 votes, and we're starting to see some patterns. Of course, Brian Kemp here right at the top. We're expecting to hear from David Perdue shortly, and based on these numbers and some exit polls, we just might be hearing some news out of David Perdue in just a moment. Okay, here's the easy stuff. Raphael Warnock, that race has been called already by the Associated Press and NBC. He will be the Democratic nominee to retain his seat. Herschel Walker leading right now. Again, these are early numbers, but he is leading very strongly for the nomination on the Republican side for the for the Senate seat currently held by Raphael Warnock. Over to the governor's race again, real quick. You can see Stacey Abrams has been called, and the reason for that is because, of course, she is running unopposed. The Secretary of State race is really heating up, though, because Jody Hice giving a very strong challenge to the incumbent Brad Raffensperger. Where is Jody Hice doing well? This is his district. That's the 10th congressional district, so he's doing very well there. The only blue you see on here is T.J. Hudson. You want to know why? Because he's from this county, so that's why he's leading in only that county. Going back to the state totals, you can see right now, Brad Raffensperger, if these numbers were to hold, and it's way too early, this would be a runoff between these top two candidates because you have to get 50% plus one. We really don't have any real numbers in yet from the 6th, 7th, or even 14th congressional district. We're just getting numbers in from the 14th coming in from Rome. Marjorie Taylor Greene leading with 67% of the vote right now, but that's only with 3,300 votes in. Going back just real quick to the state totals here, you'll see that we've got, wow, big batch of numbers just came in, 123,000 votes, but the numbers have not changed that much. Let's run through the races real quick before I send it back just to see if anything's changed. The Associated Press has just called Herschel Walker as the nominee. This is breaking news right now. Herschel Walker has officially been called by the Associated Press as the nominee.
Exposing injustice and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and...
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of drive.
Helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead.
11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive Primetime begins with breaking news.
As soon as I heard the news, my mind immediately went back to that day in the Sandy Hook firehouse, waiting for confirmation, hoping for life. Ended up being that she was murdered in the hallway. It's just really, really sad.
It is a pain that is all too familiar. The woman you just heard lost her mother when she was gunned down nearly 10 years ago inside Sandy Hook Elementary in Connecticut. The mass shooting there killing 26 people, including 20 children. And today's mass shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, took her right back to that day. At least 15 people are dead, 14 children and 1 teacher. The kids all in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades.
Police spoke less than 15 minutes ago, but they did not share many of the details. Here's what we know so far. Grief counselors will be at the Civic Center for students and the community, and the school year is now over. Here's what we do know. Again, 15 people are dead. Almost all of them are children. Many more are hurt. Police say the shooter was an 18-year-old who was a former student at the local high school. Officers say they shot and killed him. President Biden expected to speak in about 15 minutes. We're working to gather more details. We will bring you those details as soon as we are able to ascertain them.
We want to turn right now to our other top story of the day, and we're keeping a watch on Georgia's primary races. Tonight, the GOP race for governor is being closely watched all across the country.
Governor Kemp now facing Senator David Perdue, the former U.S. Senator who was defeated by by John Ossoff a number of months ago. And this time, it is the former senator who has the backing of former President Trump. Now, we're taking a live look at those results right now, and here's what we have with 106,000 votes tallied right now for Governor Kemp, and he has 73.45% to David Perdue's a little bit over 22%. That's where it stands right now. Some of the other races that we are taking a look at, we will continue to update for you as we're able to get more of the information, and we are processing it right now.
Precincts reporting 1% there, so the results still trickling in as the polls close at 7 o'clock tonight. We have team coverage on the race for you. Doug Richards on the left with the Kemp campaign, Hope Ford with the Perdue campaign. Our coverage begins with Doug Richards. He's live in downtown Atlanta. Doug.
This is the National College Football Hall of Fame. It is a cavernous place, and it's a good thing that perhaps Governor Kemp's campaign rented a cavernous place, because there are probably 400 or 500 people here, maybe more, in addition to a VIP area that's sequestered away upstairs, blocked off by curtains so that we can't see it, which is where we believe Governor Kemp and his family and his closest supporters are. They are optimistic here. There's a lot of optimism here. We talked with one former state senator who was from Gwinnett County. His name is Don Balfour, about how optimistic he is. What's your level of certainty with regard to tonight's outcome?
I bet $1,000 on it. I mean, it's certain as certain can be. The only question is, when we'll know. When first ballots come in and they're 60-40, you know what the end of the night's going to be. And I think it's going to be that all over the state.
Now, of course, not everybody is as outwardly optimistic as former Senator Balfour. One of Kemp's top aides told me that he is going to stay pessimistic until he has reason to believe otherwise. But the polls have shown and the initial results have shown that it may be a good night here at the Kemp campaign. Back to you.
cautiously optimistic, sounds like. Doug, thank you. Hope Ford joining us now from Cobb County. She's with the Purdue campaign, reacting to the few numbers that have come in so far. How are they looking at these numbers right now, Hope?
Well, there's still a lot of optimism here. This is a lot smaller of a room, a lot smaller of a venue than perhaps my colleague is at with the Kemp campaign right now, but it is filled with a lot of optimistic people who are for certain that they can still pull this off tonight. We just heard from a couple of speakers just not too long ago, and just like Perdue himself, they all maintain that if Republicans want to keep a Republican as a governor, then Perdue is the best chance. They've been saying that Kemp just doesn't stand a chance of defeating Stacey Abrams in a rematch. Now, earlier, Perdue said that the polls are a joke, and he referencing that wide margin between Kemp and himself. There are other candidates in this race, so it is possible this won't end tonight, and it could end in that runoff this summer. And that is what a couple of people have said in here tonight. They said, you know what, if we don't win it all tonight, there's still a possibility for a runoff. So there is also a lot of cautious optimism happening in this room right now. Now, of course, Perdue received a huge endorsement from former President Donald Trump, who has held some rallies with him as well. And as there have been people in here as well who have been saying that, you know, if Kemp wants to win, if he does win all of this tonight and he wants to go forward, we can't do it without the support of those MAGA voters who they called the silent majority. So they are still holding on to a lot of hope here tonight, and they are continuing to watch those results as they come in. Of course, we're going to keep you updated on the mood as it changes here.
All right, Hope Ford in a very small room at the Sheridan Suites Galleria in Cobb County. Thank you. On the Democratic side, Stacey Abrams heads to the general election after running unopposed. She hasn't appeared in any debates, but once all of the primary votes are counted, she will officially learn which Republican candidate she will be up against in the race for governor. Georgia Senate race is another big one that we're keeping an eye on for you tonight. For the Democrats, NBC already projecting Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock as the winner, the Democratic nominee, but we're still waiting to learn what GOP candidate he'll face in the general election.
So right now, with a few counties reporting, let us look at some of the numbers that we are seeing, and we will look at these results and give you an overview as far as, you know, reading the tea leaves very early tonight at 8:07. Of course, when you see these numbers, you never really know which counties they're coming from. You've got 158 counties in Georgia, so reading the tea leaves here requires a certain filter if you're going to do it effectively.
Augusta, one of the first counties to come in tonight, and Brendan Keefe has been doing a great job keeping track of all of that. So we'll have that for you in a moment. We were taking a bit of a break there because we were waiting for these numbers to come in. So Jeff, take it away.
Lo and behold, let's talk about some numbers with a former football player here. This is what the scoreboard is reading as of now. 70%, almost 71% for Herschel Walker. Gary Black, the popular ag commissioner here, long time in the state of Georgia. It was his belief and the belief of many others who thought that perhaps he might be able to establish some kind of beachhead against Herschel Walker because of being well known in all 158 counties in Georgia, but that has not transpired. He really has never gotten any traction in this campaign against the superstar name of Herschel Walker.
If you see the red check mark there, that means that the race has been called for Herschel Walker. The
AP, Associated Press, right?
Yeah, the Associated Press calling that just before 8 o'clock tonight.
All right, so on the Herschel Walker trail we go. 11 Alive Joe Ripley is at the Georgian Terrace Hotel in Atlanta with the Republican candidate, Herschel Walker.
Yeah, an historic hotel, the Georgian Terrace Hotel here in Midtown Atlanta. Herschel Walker hoping to make some history tonight, and as you heard Sheba mention just moments ago, several news outlets, including the Associated Press and NBC News, have projected Herschel Walker to take the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate, which would mean, if these results hold, that in November it would be Herschel Walker versus Raphael Warnock for the U.S. Senate seat in Georgia that was once held by Kelly Loeffler. Let's give you a look here out at the crowd, which has slowly started to trickle in. Any moment now we are expected to hear from Herschel Walker, who was slated to at this point, at this rate, outpacing his next challenger, Ag Commissioner Gary Black, by about 5 votes to 1. 70% of the vote garnered just in the early going right now as results continue to trickle in. Of course, you can follow those results in real time over at 11alive.com. But you can see this room is filling up. A lot of football teammates back at UGA with Herschel Walker are in the house tonight, as well as a number of backers here with the Georgia GOP. This was not surprising. We did expect Herschel Walker to really run away based on previous polling. Of course, we will have to see how the numbers exactly shake out. Once Walker takes the stage, we will bring that to you live as we get that. But for now, we'll send things back to you with the news that Herschel Walker is projected to win the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate.
Yeah, so again, the projection for November is that it will be the incumbent, Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, facing Herschel Walker in November for the U.S. Senate. Joe, thank you. Let's get you weather right now. More rain is moving in. Let's check in with meteorologist Nicole Hartford for an update. Hi there, Nicole.
Yes, hi. We're starting to see a lot more activity, especially down towards the southern portions of our area. All these storms have been moving through Macon, and they're now pushing up towards the north into portions of Putnam County. We're starting to definitely see some of that heavier rainfall there. Still a lot of lightning as well, so you're probably hearing quite a few rumbles of thunder. Otherwise, not much activity for now. These showers and storms have been weakening as they push up towards the north, so by the time they reach the Atlanta metro, I'm not really anticipating the widespread heavy rainfall like what we're seeing right now, but we are going to keep a chance for these isolated to even scattered showers and storms in the forecast through much of the evening and even into the overnight. By tomorrow morning, a few showers and storms may linger, but I think we are going to start off your day dry. So your morning commute tomorrow shouldn't be too messy. Temperature-wise, we'll also stay in the 60s for your overnight low temperature. So another mild and kind of muggy morning. This round of showers and storms, it's definitely not our last. In fact, we've got at least 2 more in the upcoming days. Another round of showers and storms moves in Wednesday afternoon, and then Thursday does look like it will be our most widespread day of rainfall, with potentially some heavy rain, maybe even a low-end severe weather threat for Thursday, with rainfall finally clearing out by Friday morning. Those rain chances have stayed with us for quite some time, but will give way to more sunshine by this weekend. Coming up, I will time out all the showers and storms and talk about how much rain accumulation we could see.
All right, Nicole, we will take it. We have no choice at this point. Tonight, there's a big focus on the Democratic battle for the state's 7th congressional district.
It is an unusual race here. You've got 2 incumbents going head-to-head who pretty much agree on the issues with each other. But it is the personal style and who's more effective, which has sort of led to an interesting debate between the two. The Democratic portion of Lucy McBath's old 6th district got moved into the 7th during redistricting. So now Congresswoman McBath is hoping to wrestle the seat away from Congressman Bordeaux, who won the seat 2 years ago. So this is really maybe the most interesting one of the night as far as trying to figure out who's going to win here. So very early here, Lucy McBath has a large lead of 1,800 votes to 388. But again, we don't know where those are coming from.
It's still very early in the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have team coverage as both candidates hold watch parties. Let's start with 11 Alive's Kristen Crowley. She is with Congresswoman Lucy McBath's campaign, and she's in Peachtree Corners tonight. How's it looking there, Kristen?
Yeah, well, it is picking up right now. The music just cranked on much louder up behind me. There's about 24 people or so that have come into the McBath campaign celebration party. Well, they hope it's going to be a celebration. We really don't know at this point. But the big story going into tonight, it was the redistricting. It was the fact that colleagues had turned into competitors. But that has shifted, all because of a shooting that happened at a Texas elementary school. That tone has really taken a different side. The Congresswoman got into politics because of the shooting death of her own son back in 2012. So she's known for advocating for gun reform, and this shooting in Texas really just reinforces her message that she says change needs to happen, and she believes she is the best candidate for that change. The question is, will voters believe that as well? Now, I had asked her campaign earlier today if she's worried about a runoff, because there is a third Democrat in this race as well, which could split those votes even more. Maybe we're not going to see that 50+1 that they need to go on to the the seat, but they said they're not going to talk about that right now because they are solely focused on what is happening in Texas. So again, a big shift from we were expecting to see from this campaign earlier today. They're focused on the gun violence that's happened in Texas, and I think we're going to hear that focus a lot more in the next coming days. Back to you.
All right, Kristen, thank you. And we also have a reporter at Congresswoman Carolyn Bourdeaux's campaign watch party, also in Peachtree Corners. We'll dip into that, what's going on in that room, a little bit later on in the show. Jeff?
All right, the numbers are slowly trickling in, and Brendan Keefe is tracking the numbers. He is a man used to seeing the slow movement of glaciers, as he has been over the years. And tonight it's slow going, but we're going to have the very latest for you. He'll join us with the latest results coming up.
He
is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of drive.
Helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m.
It is Election Day in Georgia, and right now votes are beginning to come in. We have 0% precincts, 1% precincts, and already a couple of races have been called by the Associated Press. Brendan Keefe joining us now. And Brendan, we're wondering where the counties are that are reporting these results, the biggest counties here, specifically for the governor's race, where right now Brian Kemp is in the lead, and also for the 7th Congressional District with Lucy McBath and Carolyn Bourdeaux.
Yep, Sheba, those are all really good questions. Right now we're at 3% reporting. Let's just give you a quick tour of the board. We can actually go back in time, look at the previous race for these nominations for comparison. Just giving you the tour of the board. This will always tell us the percent of votes that are in. These are the vote totals for the state in this race. And then we also get the percentages for each candidate, but also how many votes they're behind. So here's what's really interesting looking at the governor's race right now. Even though it's only 3% reporting, 236,000 votes in, there isn't a single county where David Perdue is leading. Not a single county. Now, we could even do a heat map, which is kind of interesting. You can just see how strong Brian Kemp's support is so far. It's strongest in the Atlanta metro area. It's weakest down in southeast Georgia, which is interesting. The Senate races, as we mentioned, Herschel Walker's already been called. So has Raphael Warnock. So has Stacey Abrams in the governor's race. We're watching very closely the Secretary of State's race. At this point, man, it's not even a notch above 50% right now. This would be a runoff if it was exactly 50%. So we're going to be watching this one very closely. Really not enough numbers in the 6th and 7th, but we'll keep an eye on those for you.
All right, Brendan, thank you. We appreciate it. And the impact of some of Georgia's top primary races will be felt beyond the borders here of Georgia. Joining me right now is Dr. Andra Gillespie, an Emory University political scientist and 11 Alive political expert. If you have been watching us over the years, you certainly are familiar with Dr. Gillespie's fine work and her analysis on election night. So give me an overview. Is this an interesting night, or is it one that pretty much will go the path of which we have all projected, if polls are any indication?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting, despite the fact that I'm not prepared for very many surprises. So what we see so far is kind of conforming to what the survey data told us it was likely to go. It'll be really interesting tonight to see if Brian Kemp actually overperforms what the surveys are, but I don't think that it's a surprise tonight that, you know, Herschel Walker has already been declared the winner. Yeah. It's not a surprise that Brian Kemp is in the lead. It also, you know, isn't a surprise that Brad Raffensperger has a slight lead over Jody Hice. Most of the survey data pointed in that direction.
You know, I heard Hope Ford was at the campaign headquarters of former Senator David Perdue a couple of minutes ago, and they were talking about a sense of optimism. I must tell you, there hasn't been any optimism from those who follow David Perdue's desire to be governor from the very beginning. I mean, this thing has never gotten off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a quixotic campaign at best. Most of the time, you don't run against incumbents because they have high name recognition. They have a record of achievement that, you know, for better or for worse, people know and are familiar with. They've won this office before. They have strong, deep connections and roots in the state. Those could not be counteracted by the fact that Donald Trump was mad with Brian Kemp. And so the miscalculation here was that Republican voters would be so mad at Governor Kemp's decision to help certify the election result that they would actually forget everything else that they know about him.
And the job of being governor is very different from being a U.S. senator. It's about attending the Hiawassee pancake breakfast on a Saturday morning. I mean, you don't live that kind of life when you are a U.S. senator.
Well, you know what? Actually, you should do that.
You should.
In fact, you know, that may have been part of the reason why David Perdue was embattled when he ran for the U.S. Senate in 2020. But the issue is that, you know, a high-quality challenger like David Perdue usually waits for an open seat contest. They don't challenge incumbents. This was always a very risky move, and it appears as though it's not going to pay off. But we'll wait to see until all the final results come in.
As we go to break, give me a sense of the one race that you're watching closely tonight.
You know, the one race that I'm going to be most interested in is the 7th District Democratic race between Lucy McBath and Carolyn Bourdeaux. I think it's a question of whether or not this goes to a runoff, whether or not Donna McLeod actually gets enough votes to force a runoff, and then I think it's a big question of, you know, whether or not it's Bourdeaux or whether or not it's McBath.
All right, Dr. Gillespie, always great to have you here, and we will be talking with you a whole bunch tonight. Thanks. All right, we'll take a break right now. We continue on this evening of counting the numbers to see who will be moving on to November. We'll take a break right now. We're back after this.
Social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by...
Fall is moving in from the south. So far today, we've stayed mostly dry, but for many of us, that is pretty quickly changing. Right now, we've got storms off into Alabama, which if these hold together as they push northeast, they might clip portions of Chattooga County. We've also got one isolated storm that is currently in White County. This is producing some heavy areas of rainfall as well as a couple lightning bolts, but the main area of rain that I'm watching has just moved through Macon. There's still some storms here that are producing heavy rain as well as frequent lightning. These are moving into Jasper as well as Putnam counties. And all of this activity is associated with this stalled front. We've got a couple systems at play here. The stalled front that has kept rain chances in the forecast the last couple of days. And then this area of low pressure, which is producing severe weather across portions of Texas. As this area of low pressure and the associated cold front moves off towards the east, our rain chances will actually go up once again by Thursday, and so will our rainfall potential. I'm thinking over the next 4 or 5 days, we'll potentially pick up anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rainfall accumulation. That's on top of the rain that we already accumulated yesterday. So it does look like we will have potentially some periods that will be very, very soggy out there. It also comes with a low threat for severe weather. For tonight as well as tomorrow, we're included in that level 1 risk across portions of the state. This means that some storms could be capable of producing some heavy rainfall or some gusty winds. So strong winds are the main aspect that we're looking at when it comes to our severe weather threat. I do think that threat will be a little bit higher on Thursday compared to tonight and tomorrow as our cold front actually swings through. That gives us a little bit more of a lifting mechanism that helps to get those storms going. Our forecast track does show some rainfall moving in through the evening hours as well as into the overnight. But by the time you're waking up tomorrow morning, most of that activity will have come to an end. We'll be left with maybe a couple isolated showers, perhaps a stray storm, but I think your morning commute on Wednesday does look primarily dry. And for much of the day, that'll be the case as well. A few isolated showers and storms, but just not a whole lot going on. By Wednesday afternoon, our next round of rainfall moves in, which again will come with that risk for some heavy rain, some gusty winds, as well as lightning, with some of those storms producing heavier rains in the pinks and reds on our forecast track. Again, rinse and repeat. We move that rainfall out by Thursday morning and bring in our last round of rainfall by Thursday afternoon. Our temperatures tomorrow aren't going to be quite as warm, but they'll still get up into the 70s and low 80s with a high in Atlanta of 81 degrees. We'll clear out the rainfall by Friday afternoon. Lots of sunshine in the forecast just as we go into the weekend. So on our wazometer that ranks your day on a scale from 1 to 11, 11 being the perfect day. Wednesday, Thursday, we're not really going to have great conditions to get outdoors, especially in the afternoons, but we will more than make up for it as we head into the weekend. Our timing is looking at least perfect for your upcoming outdoor weekend plans on Saturday and Sunday with both 10s on the wazometer. Our temperatures are going to get much warmer as well. While we may stay in the mid to upper 70s for Thursday and Friday, high temperatures will start to heat back up into those mid and even upper 80s by the end of the weekend. Our high temperatures will manage to push 90 degrees as we make into Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Nicole, thank you. And we have some breaking news right now. The race for Georgia governor has just been called by NBC News. It will be Governor Brian Kemp in the race for governor in November.
So we are waiting to hear from the former Senator David Perdue, and we go to his headquarters right now.
I want to thank you for loving our state and loving our country. I've seen more emotion in the last 6 months than I've seen really in my career of people who really do care. And so I'm going to call on that tonight, but it looks pretty obvious right now. I just called the governor, and I congratulated him. And I want you to do the same thing. Right now, what we've got to do is face the reality that Bonnie and I made a decision when we decided to do this, that we trusted the people of Georgia. And we prayed a lot about it, and we thought about not doing this. I tried not to do it. And honestly, there's a reason why we, I think, did it, or had to do it. But here's the bottom line. We trust the people of Georgia. And we did it knowing that we were going up against an incumbent governor. And, you know, everything I said about Brian Kemp was true, but here's the other thing I said was true. He is a much better choice than Stacey Abrams. And so we are going to get behind our governor. Bonnie, I committed to him right now what Jack Kingston committed to me back in 2014, and that is there's nothing they can ask me to do that I won't do. We're going to do everything we can to make damn sure Stacey Abrams doesn't take over the state and let the woke mob take over our beloved children and grandchildren. So I want you to know tonight that I am fully supporting Brian Kemp in his run to beat Stacey Abrams. He's a fellow Republican, and I'm going to tell you the failed Democrat platform right now is so obvious on the federal level, we don't want it to come to Georgia. And this is what I'm telling you tonight. It's emotional for all of us. We're disappointed. I get that. Let's take a few hours, lick our wounds, and tomorrow morning you're going to hear me going to work for Brian Kemp to make damn sure that Stacey Abrams is never governor of Georgia. The last thing I'll say is I want to thank you guys again. I see new friends. I see old friends. And this is so encouraging to me that so many people who have not been involved in politics have gotten in politics, not just in my race, but last May, 2/3 of the people who went to the Republican GOP convention in Jekyll Island, it was the first time they'd ever done anything in politics. Now, guys, that's incredible. I was in Union County last week, or over the weekend. A year ago, they had 80 members. Union County, Blairsville, you all know where that is. It's hard to get up there, but we were up there, and we had probably had 150 at a Saturday morning meeting, and a year ago they had 80 members. They had 390 members right now. That's what's happening in this state. I can't explain these results. They're counter to what I saw around the state, but I am absolutely, I'm sorry? I'm sorry, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to make sure Stacey Abrams is not governor of the state. God bless you guys. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. Thank you.
All right, David Perdue conceding to Governor Kemp tonight, saying that he will back the governor in his bid for a second term against the Democrat Stacey Abrams. And he is disappointed in the results, but he accepts the verdict, he says, from the people of Georgia, and has understood that from the very beginning when 6 months he decided to take on this quest to try to upset Governor Kemp to be the Republican nominee toward November.
This election night is going by very, very fast. At 8:29 already, the race for governor, who should go on in November, already decided. We already know the race for the Senate will be Herschel Walker and Senator Warnock in that race as well. We are still waiting out the 7th congressional district race with Carolyn Bourdeaux and Lucy McBath. So it has been an interesting night and a quick night.
It has, and I thought it was intriguing to hear right off the bat that former Senator Perdue saying that he would back Governor Kemp, that he would do whatever he had to do. Jack Kingston, of course, was the congressman from the Glynn County area down by Savannah. He ran against David Perdue. I moderated a debate right here in the studio between those two in 2014 when it looked like maybe Kingston was going to be the candidate of note. It didn't happen that way. David Perdue came on strong and became the U.S. Senator in 2014, but it has been a difficult road for him since, losing to John Ossoff as he was looking for a second 6-year term, and then deciding, surprisingly, to run for the Georgia governor's seat that was currently being held by a Republican and Brian Kemp. So he has had 2 losses in a very short period of time, and I think a lot of people that have followed his career would have been surprised by that by a couple of years ago.
He seemed to have taken the news well, I might add, and is fully going to support Governor Kemp come November. But yeah, almost not even 8:30 yet, and we already know how this is going to shape up. A lot of us interested in how the numbers have broken down, seeing that it is still so early in the night. Let's go to Brendan Keefe for that. He's at the big board watching all of the counties come in and what the vote totals look like right now.
Yeah, Shiba, you're right. It's such an early night for us so far for these big races. I stood at this board for 2 months. That's how long election night 2020 was. It extended into 2021. If you remember, we called the Senate race on January 6th, an important date on the calendar, and not for a good reason, as you know. So here's why Brian Kemp is now, there's a check mark next to his name, and the reason is he is going to be the Republican nominee for governor to run for re-election of his own office. Why is that? It's not just because I have his name highlighted here. You don't see any green on this map. None. Zero. Zilch. Not a single county former Senator David Perdue is leading. We can do a little heat map, and you can see that it doesn't get much better. Even way down by Jacksonville, these counties where Governor Kemp's lead is the lowest, he's still leading, by massive amounts over, and percentage-wise, over David Perdue. So this one's a wash. We know that. So let's do a quick review of where we are. First, the Senate races, they're basically all called for the nominations. Herschel Walker's your nominee on the Republican side for senator. Of course, Raphael Warnock is your nominee on the Democrat side. Governor, we know it's Brian Kemp, and versus Stacey Abrams, who was running unopposed. So we already have the 2 biggest races locked right now at 8:35. If we jump to Secretary of State, this is where it gets really interesting. I've been watching this develop recently, and what you're seeing is Brad Raffensperger is kind of pivoting around that 50% number with a strong showing by U.S. Representative Jody Hice of the 10th District. Raffensperger has been just above 50% lately, and as you can see, he has a lot of strength in the Atlanta area. All these white counties, by the way, we don't have a single vote in yet, so that's important to point out. If you notice, Jody Hice's numbers are almost, or his counties where he's leading, are limited to the 10th Congressional District, which is right between Atlanta and Augusta. Huge area here. Jody Hice is leading essentially where they know Jody Hice best. Some new numbers just came in, and you can see Brad Raffensperger, if these numbers were to hold, no runoff. If it's 50% and not +1 vote or below that, we have a runoff between the top 2 candidates. I quickly want to jump into the 7th Congressional District race, because everybody's keeping their eye on this one with Lucy McBath and Carolyn Bourdeaux, and you're saying, wait, these numbers are wildly out of what we would expect. How is Lucy McBath at 80% and Carolyn Bourdeaux is at 17%? It's where the numbers are coming in from right now, because keep in mind, right now the numbers are only coming in from the Fulton part of the new 7th Congressional District, and the Fulton part of the district, guess what? We can go back in time and show where it used to be. It was part of the 6th Congressional District. So what does that mean? It means that Lucy McBath's Lucy McBath's constituents are voting for Lucy McBath because this is her district right this moment, and she's going to be running in the new 7th, and that's why she's leading at this point. But statistically insignificant, 3,600 votes in. I wouldn't look at this as some sort of a necessary trend for the rest of the night. On the Republican side, same thing. We pretty much only have numbers in from the Fulton side of the district. Quick look at the 6th Congressional District, which is new. Keep in mind now, what we have here is the 6th Congressional District completely redrawn. Right now, Lucy McBath, a Democrat, holds that seat. And this is Newt Gingrich's old district. So keep that in mind. This was a traditionally Republican district. It's now a Democratic district. Because of redistricting, they took the 6th and the 7th, both with Democrats as representatives. And what they did when they redistricted it, they said, okay, instead of two swing districts, we're going to have one Republican and one Democrat. And that's what we have right here in the new 6th Congressional District. You have Forsyth County, particularly North Forsyth, is heavy Republican, and Dawson County, which is heavy Republican, and this part of Cherokee. If you just look at the earlier, the old, district, it didn't include any of Cherokee, any of Forsyth, or any of Dawson. It was limited just to these North Fulton counties. It didn't get any farther north than Milton. So that's how they essentially rebuilt the 6th district to be a strong Republican district. There are Democratic candidates there, but when we get to the general, this is going to be a blowout for the most part, just because traditionally of how people vote in these particular areas. So we're keeping our eyes on the congressional district, the 7th. We're looking at the 6th, but we just don't have enough numbers in yet. What I'm watching at this point is the Secretary of State race, and let's jump to the Democrat side of that race right now. Bee Nguyen. She is a state representative. You'll remember she took on the big lie as a state representative in the committees, actually questioning Donald Trump's representatives coming up to the Gold Dome, to the state capitol, and she brought the receipts. She's like, no, what you're saying isn't true. She is now running to run elections for the state of Georgia. At this point, she has an incredibly strong lead. We have the numbers here in purple. You're wondering, why aren't they, we're used to seeing blue and red. Not right now. We're not doing blue and red because that's for the general election. Remember, these are all Democrats running against each other. These are all Republicans running against each other. So we just have different colors for you to see the different sort of areas where they're leading. Right now, there's a lot of purple on the board. Bee Nguyen doing very strongly with 7% of the vote in. So quickly, let's just recap right now so you know exactly where we are, and especially where we are compared to historical numbers. Brian Kemp is your nominee for governor on the Republican side. Where was he 4 years ago? This is really interesting. Casey Cagle won, essentially, on the primary night. Well, wait, he wasn't the nominee for governor. That's because he didn't get 50% plus one. Brian Kemp came in second with only 25% of the vote. He was 81,000 votes behind Casey Cagle for the Republican nomination 4 years ago. But then this went into a runoff. Kemp wins the runoff. Kemp becomes the nominee, and Kemp beats Stacey Abrams in the general election, which was very, very narrow. Jeff Sheba will keep an eye on it, but this is getting really interesting in the Secretary of State race.
Well, the difference in all of this was the call from Donald Trump back 4 years ago, which changed all of it from
Indeed, which we got a copy of and aired right here on 11 Alive, and it was an interesting call.
Yep.
All right, Brendan, thank you. We want to turn now to President Joe Biden making some remarks on that mass shooting at an elementary school in South Texas. Let's listen in.
Another massacre, Uvalde, Texas, an elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, second, third, fourth graders. And how many scores of little children who witness what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents who will never be the same. To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away. There's a hollowness in your chest. You feel like you're being sucked into it and never going to be able to get out. Suffocating. It's never quite the same. It's a feeling shared by the siblings and the grandparents and the family members and the community that's left behind. Scripture says, Joe and I have talked about this in different contexts, another context. Lord, is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So many crushed spirits. So tonight, I ask the nation to pray for them, and give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now. As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done? It's been 3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, where another gunman massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, there have been over 900 incidents of gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Santa Fe High School in Texas. Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Deer aren't running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry. Here's what else I know. Most Americans support common sense laws, common sense gun laws. I just got off a trip from Asia, meeting with Asian leaders. And I learned of this while I was on the aircraft. And what struck me on that 17-hour flight, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why? They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone to have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies? It's time to turn this pain into action. For every parent, for every citizen in this country, we have to make it clear to every elected official in this country, it's time to act. It's time for those who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more. Our prayer tonight is for those parents lying in bed and trying to figure out, will I be able to sleep again? What do I say to my other children? What happens tomorrow? May God bless the loss of innocent life on this sad day. And may the Lord be near the brokenhearted and save those crushed in spirit because they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of our prayers. God love you.
Will you go to Texas, sir? Sir, will you go to Texas?
President Joe Biden just stepping off a 17-hour flight from his trip to Asia, and on that flight learning about the news of 18 children and 2 adults. We know at least one of them is a teacher who were gunned down inside their elementary school earlier today in Uvalde, Texas. The president saying, quote, "I'm sick and tired of it. We have to act," referencing the need to pass stricter gun laws, and that he says it's now time to turn that pain into action. This is a small community in South Texas, about an hour and a half away from the Mexico border. They are grieving, they are hurting tonight as we watch this senseless violence take place all across the country. The folks in Buffalo, New York, many of them still have not buried their loved ones, and here we have another mass shooting. The last count here, 18 children, 2 adults dead. The death toll has since gone up, and we heard from the superintendent in that school district just before 8 o'clock tonight, and he has said that their heart is broken and they need your prayers tonight. We'll be back.
Talking about damaging winds, hail, and
You can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing
we
in.
could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true?
Isolated showers are surrounding downtown Atlanta, mainly on the south side, but at this point the heavier rainfall is more down towards Putnam County. That's where we're seeing some heavy rain, some gusty winds up to about 40 miles per hour, as well as some frequent lightning. The storm is moving up towards the north into Greene as well as Morgan counties, so you're probably already hearing the thunder there, and the heavy rain, the gusty winds are not too far behind. We also have a few areas of some moderate rainfall up into portions of Habersham as well as Rabun counties. Over the course of the overnight hours, we'll keep this activity going. We have a lot of rainfall across the southeastern United States, all associated with this stalled front and then the area of low pressure off towards Oklahoma and Texas. This is going to keep our rain chances in the forecast through at least Thursday, and our severe outlook accompanies that as well. The Storm Prediction Center has just taken away that level 1 risk for severe storms, so some gusty winds are still possible tonight, some heavy rainfall, but it's mainly Thursday that I want to focus on that potential for some severe weather. We're included in that level 1 risk, mainly for some storms that could produce some gusty, potentially even damaging winds. Our forecast track pushes all that rainfall across the state and out by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. We're left with only a couple isolated showers, maybe a stray storm throughout the first half of the day on Wednesday. Similar to what we had today, I think we'll end up spending most of the day dry. By Wednesday afternoon and evening, though, more storms will start to develop in Alabama and then push up towards the northeast. That is not our last round of storms. We have the more widespread rain that moves in by Thursday, and then I think rainfall finally moves out by Friday afternoon. When all is said and done, we'll have an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain accumulation on top of what we already picked up yesterday. Sunshine returns just in time for the weekend. Temperatures are also going to get much warmer, with highs climbing into the mid to upper 80s by Sunday and Monday. Stick around, we'll be right back.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m., where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of drive.
Helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and...
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive News Primetime starts now.
When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough.
Steve Kerr, who played for the Chicago Bulls and now is the head coach of arguably the best team in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors, his own father dying in an act of violence in 1984, and he got away and walked away from the podium as he was highly emotional during a news conference talking about the conference finals. Of course, speaking on the tragic shooting in Texas that has left so many people dead, most of them children.
Yeah, we got some new details coming into the newsroom. We just clarified minutes ago that 18 children are confirmed dead, 2 adults, and even the shooter as well. Now, most of these dead are little kids, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, and one of the adults is a teacher. The other, police say, was the grandmother of the shooter. We're being told by reports that she was shot first before he went to the school, and this is one of the deadly school shootings that we have witnessed in years right here in the United States. President Joe Biden just addressed the nation moments ago.
As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
So right now we are working to gather some more details to learn about these stories and about these victims. And of course, we're going to bring them to you on 11alive.com and on the air as well. All right, turning now to our other top story of the day. Keeping an eye on Georgia's primary races. Tonight, the GOP race for governor is being closely watched all across the country.
Yeah, but no big surprises tonight. Governor Kemp facing former Senator Perdue, who had the backing of former President Trump. And we're taking a live look at those results. And of course, Brian Kemp has been declared by Associated Press and NBC as the victor tonight over David Perdue just rolled on by him. Almost 73% of all the votes went to Brian Kemp, the incumbent, as he gets ready to take on Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, that is huge.
In November.
Yeah, we have live team coverage on that race for you tonight. Doug Richards is with the Kemp campaign and Hope Ford is with the Perdue campaign. Our coverage is going to begin with Doug Richards. He's live in downtown Atlanta. Doug?
Well, I'll tell you what people here at the Kemp
campaign party are not talking about, at least not yet, is to what extent the results that we are seeing tonight might be making a certain individual at Mar-a-Lago smart over the next few days, given the amount of prestige that President Trump put into the campaign of David Perdue. They're not talking about that here. Instead, what they're talking about generally is that Governor Kemp not only ran a good campaign, but that he also had a really good legislative session at the start of this year, which provided tax cuts for people, which provided raises for school teachers, in addition to a lot of popular programs that conservatives like a lot. What we think is that Governor Kemp is going to speak into this room pretty soon and perhaps relay all that as well. A few minutes ago, I talked with a former state senator, Don Balfour, who talked about the lead up that Kemp had to this night.
Quite often things break late, and they have totally broken to Kemp's side. They did, he did a good job in these last 4 years. He did a great job this last session. He's done a good job even like the other day with Pence. He thanked Donald Trump and Pence. I'm like, wow. I don't know if I would have done that, but he's doing a good job because we got to bring everybody back together for the general. So.
And that, of course, have been a nod to what Kemp has to do in the general election, which is to bring into the fold of the Republican Party and his effort against Stacey Abrams those voters who truly did believe that the 2020 election was stolen, despite the lack of evidence, who are really loyal to former President Donald Trump, and who Kemp will need in his camp in order to beat Stacey Abrams in November. We've been told by a Kemp aide just a second ago that Kemp will descend and speak to the crowd of about 500 people here at the College Football Hall of Fame at about 9:30 tonight. So we'll see you shortly. Back to you.
All right, Doug. Thanks a lot, sir. Appreciate that. Hope Ford is joining us now from the Sheridan Suites Galleria in Cobb County. So, Hope, how's the Perdue campaign reacting to these low numbers so far?
Well, it cleared out pretty quickly in here. There's pretty much nobody in here except for media at this point. There are a couple of supporters who are still out in the hallway, still talking to each other right now. But it cleared out in about 30 minutes. Of course, Perdue making that concession speech about 30 minutes ago. And he said at the time that, it looked pretty obvious. So he did go ahead and call Kemp and congratulate him at the time. Not everybody in the room was too happy to hear that news right there. But he said, I said from the beginning I was going to trust in the people of Georgia, and this is what the people of Georgia said that they wanted. And he said that everything that he has said about Governor Brian Kemp so far is true. And there's also one other thing he said that is true, and that he is much better than Stacey Abrams at any point in time. So he told us exactly what he plans to do tomorrow morning. Take a listen.
We trust the people of Georgia. And we did it knowing that we were going up against an incumbent governor. And, everything I said about Brian Kemp was true, but here's the other thing I said was true. He is a much better choice than Stacey Abrams. And so we are going to get behind our governor. Bonnie, I committed to him right now what Jack Kingston committed to me back in 2014, and that is there's nothing they can ask me to do that I won't do. We're going to do everything we can to make damn sure Stacey Abrams doesn't take over the state and let the woke mob take over our beloved children and grandchildren.
And as you heard him right there, he said that's exactly what he's going to do in the morning. He's going to get up and he is going to throw all of his support behind Governor Brian Kemp to make sure that he wins his elections. Because previous to this, throughout his entire campaign, Perdue has continued to say that Kemp alone has no chance in beating Abrams. That's why he wanted people to pick him so badly. So he's saying the two of us together, we have a chance. Kemp, you cannot do it alone. So he's going to throw all his support. He encouraged everyone in this room to also throw all of their support behind Kemp in order to help him in that November race against against Stacey Abrams. So we're going to see how that continues to go tonight. So there is some disappointment, but there's also a little bit of people who are excited. They're reinvigorating themselves here tonight because they're getting ready for a new fight tomorrow morning.
Yeah, this is going to be a big fight, Hope. Thanks a lot for informing us of what's taking place there. And you just mentioned this, Hope. On the Democratic side, Stacey Abrams heading into the general election running unopposed. She has not appeared in any debates, but once all the primary votes are counted in, she will officially learn which Republican candidate she's going to be up against. More than likely it's going to be Governor Brian Kemp. By the way, the Georgia Senate race is another top race we're keeping an eye on for the Democratic side of the race. NBC is projecting that Senator Raphael Warnock is the winner there.
So NBC also projecting that Herschel Walker is the Republican candidate in that Senate race. That has never been an issue from the very beginning. Yeah. Gary Black, popular ag commissioner, thought, I think a lot of people initially thought that he would put up some kind of challenge to Herschel Walker, but that's simply not the case. He never got any traction. He really never got anything going, despite the name recognition in 158 counties in Georgia, because we are a state of agriculture, but that simply didn't materialize. We're also a state of football and football legends, and they don't get any bigger than Herschel Walker. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley at the Georgian Terrace Hotel in Atlanta, one of the most famous hotels in the American South, across from the Fox Theater, where 1939 the Gone with the Wind party was held. Tonight, a different kind of party for the Republican candidate Herschel Walker.
A different kind of party, Jeff, but still Herschel Walker writing a news story, a political chapter in the latest of a long line of things he has tried. He was pretty good at one thing, at least football. Back in 1980, he helped lead UGA to a national title. Look behind me and you can see the captain of that 1980 team, Frank Ross, sharing some words about how he knows Herschel. At any moment, we expect Walker to take the stage and give his victory speech. It was about an hour ago that AP as well as NBC News projected that Herschel Walker would win the GOP nomination for the U.S. Senate and take on Raphael Warnock come November. This speech has been delayed because President Biden was giving his speech to the nation in response to the tragic shooting that took 15 lives there in Texas. I wanted to read you a little bit of a comment that the Herschel Walker campaign put out in response to that shooting. It reads, quote, "Julie, his wife, and I are heartbroken over the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas. We are lifting up the victims and their families in prayer." Again, we do expect Herschel Walker to take the stage here in the next few moments to give a victory speech. This, of course, a momentous day for him and his campaign. He was backed by former President Trump and won tonight, something that some of his other colleagues who had received the former president's backing had not been able to accomplish tonight. Of course, when Walker takes the stage, we will bring that speech to you. For now, we'll send things back to you in studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. A lot of money is going to be spent on both campaigns. Yep. Hey, let's check in about this rain. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb standing by. So more rain headed our way, huh, Chris?
Well, we're watching some showers and storms coming through, and it's impacting northwest Georgia and areas just to the east of us. In Atlanta, we're going to have a few spotty showers, but the strongest of those storms are out I-20 right now, well to the east, and you can see a lot of thunder and lightning with this, moving through Eatonton, moving over Lake Oconee right now into the southern parts of Morgan County, pushing into Greene County. That moves over into Hancock County as well. Heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. We've had some winds from about 40 miles an hour. They're not classified as severe storms, though. Look at the number of lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes, about 113 strikes there. So a lot of electricity. If you're in that area, you're most likely seeing that lightning even from a distance, or even hearing the thunder as well. There's that heaviest part just now over Lake Oconee, about to move over I-20 and then move northward over into the Greensboro area too. Here's another area that we're watching up in northeast Georgia, in Stevens County, over near parts of Habersham County, Tallulah Falls, crossing over the line into South Carolina, where we have some moderate to heavy rain, thunder and lightning there. And then another batch of rain, Polk County into Floyd County, northwest Georgia, seeing some of those more moderate to heavy showers moving in as well. All of those have thunder and lightning. We've been tracking these storms that are moving in over I-20 right now on the east side as they were pushing to the north. We talked about the fact that they would weaken. They're not as strong now as they were earlier, but still some of that heavy rain and thunder and lightning with it. We continue to deal with this unsettled pattern with rain and storms over the next couple of days. We'll break that down for you coming up.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, sir. Tonight, there's a huge focus on the Democratic battle for the state's 7th congressional district.
It is the most interesting race maybe of all tonight, and has been run a toss-up where, I think a lot of people in politics have tried to figure out which way this will go.
Yeah.
You really have an unusual race here. You've got two incumbents going head-to-head. You don't see that anywhere else around America. And this is what it's looking like right now. A Democratic portion of Lucy McBath's old 6th district got moved into the 7th during redistricting. So McBath hoping to wrestle a seat away from Carolyn Bourdeaux. And it looks as though she is on target right now, as she has built quite a lead here. And again, we don't know how many of these votes are in right now.
Right.
But at this point, smart money would look to be on Lucy McBath.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we have 11 Alive's Kristen Crowley. She is with Congresswoman Lucy McBath's campaign right now in Peachtree Corners tonight. All yours.
Well, like you said, it is early in the campaign right now. The vote tallies, they're not 100% in, but if Lucy McBath does hold her lead, I still don't think there's going to be much of a celebration here necessarily, because the Congresswoman said that a lot of her focus tonight is going to be about this shooting that happened in Texas. That's the focus right now. She went on Twitter earlier tonight saying, we are better than this. We have to be better than this. We cannot be the only nation where we pay for the weapons of war in our streets with the blood of our children sitting in our schools. One reason that gun violence is such an issue that is so important to her is because her son died by gun violence back in 2012. It's what launched her political career. So she has staked her political career on reforming the laws that we have around guns, and now the shooting in Texas at this elementary school has just solidified her stance on this. Her campaign spokespeople have been telling me that that is her focus right now. It's not about beating her competitor who was once her colleague. It is right now focusing on changing the gun laws. Now, we're not sure when McBath is going to come out here tonight to make any kind of speech or announcement, because her campaign says that it's just going to kind of go with the flow as things happen. It sounded like they were going to wait until all the votes were official, so I'm not sure how far we are out from that, but when we do get more information about that, we will be sure to let you know, and we'll be sure to make sure you hear from the Congresswoman coming up here on our air. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Kristen. We're going to go with Rebecca Lindstrom. She's with the Bourdeaux campaign right now. What's the latest there?
Well, Congresswoman Carolyn Bourdeaux was actually here already this evening, and she took time to thank supporters, to answer some questions from the media, and it didn't take long for her to start talking about money. She talked about the $3 million that she was able to raise for this primary, which is an extraordinary amount of money for a primary, but was nothing compared to the outside money that Lucy McBath was able to garner to help with her campaign. And that's why she said she knew she was going to have to approach this campaign differently, and here's how she described their efforts.
We will see, again, if you've watched any of the TV, the ads have been Lucy McBath around the clock. We really have been boots on the ground and turned out a really formidable field operation and field campaign. And I just want to say how extremely proud I am of this campaign and what we have done. It has been an extraordinary, valiant effort, and I really appreciate everybody doing it.
She says she is ready for a runoff if that's what it takes to win this race. For now, she has gone home to watch the election results with her family. It is unclear whether she will be back out here tonight, but certainly her supporters still here, constantly checking those monitors to see what the latest are in the results. And we, of course, will continue to stay out here to get their reaction. Back to you.
All right, Rebecca Lindstrom reporting for us. The numbers slowly trickling in, coming in, and Brendan Keith is tracking the numbers. He is a man who stands alone next to a board. The numbers he shares with the hopes, the wishes, and the dreams of politicos everywhere. We'll have the latest results county by county coming up next.
Fighting social is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready. wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now.
Herschel Walker. Are developing right now. Herschel Walker speaking right now. NBC calling him as the winner for the GOP Senate race. Let's listen in.
So I went through some very hard times through it. But because of my faith in my family and my professional help, they helped me through my mental health struggles. So asking for help changed my life. I built a successful chicken business. I hustled. Man, did I work. I've worked hard. Traveled the country, selling chicken, sleeping in airports. I went through some ups and downs, like any business owner trying to build his business and provide for his family. It may sound funny, but I wouldn't trade those struggles for anything. They made me a strong man, a better man, and this Senate seat is no different. I knew it wouldn't be easy, and it was about to get harder, but that's the way I like it. I've been practicing, studying, training, working, and fighting is hard, but that's my life. That's how you rise. That's how you win. That's how the kid from Wrightsville planned to give back to the people of Georgia. You've always believed in me and supported me, so now it's time for me to return the favor. You know, when God planted the seed in my heart, He planted it in my wife's heart as well. We prayed about it. It was a big decision, but we're in this together. We're united. And now, we're on this journey together. So I couldn't do it without her. So Julie, I want to say I love you. Thank you. I want to thank my mom and thank my children and the rest of my whole wonderful family. I love you all as well. I also want to thank my campaign staff, my volunteers, and all the people that are part of Team Herschel. I know it's been hard. You worked hard, but you're the best. You've proven that. And I also want to thank my primary opponents for their willingness to step into the ring and take the chance to represent this good state of Georgia. I know you want what's best for this state. I appreciate your service. There's always be room on Team Herschel, and I hope you join us. Since I started playing football, people will come up to me and ask for autographs. They want to talk about sports. I always enjoyed it. But for the last couple of months, people ask about different things that are going on in their life because they're hurting, they're scared. I see it in their eyes. They can't afford food, they can't pay for gas, they're sick of what's happening in the schools. They don't even feel safe no more. They feel like their dreams and everything they work for is slipping away. The America they've known is slipping away. They share their stories with me. They believe I can help them. Be their voice, fight for them. They're the reason I entered this race. I'm not in it for fame. I got that. I'm not in it for glory. I got that too. And not for power. My power comes from the Holy God. I'm in this race for a young lady named Crystal. She's a truck driver, a single mom. She's on the road trying to earn enough money to take care of her daughter. It's getting harder as she's trying to afford food and gas and health insurance. But Crystal, her daughter, was in public school that the mom took her out because another little girl got assaulted in the bathroom. She couldn't let nothing like that happen to her little girl. So she took her out and put her in a small private school. She didn't have any other options to do that. And what are we going to do? And now Crystal shouldn't have to put up with something like that. She shouldn't have to be able to afford to send her little child to a private school for a good education and to keep her safe. I'm in this race also for Lee and Michael. They're farmers who are getting crushed by government regulations, raising prices for gas, fertilizers, and equipment. Parts are making it harder to be a farmer. They're having trouble making ends meet. It hurts their families, and it hurts Georgia. And all this breaks my heart as they struggle to survive. I carry these stories with me everywhere I go. I hear different versions of it from different people, but the basic message is the same. Their American dream is becoming a nightmare. And this nightmare started when the radical left came up with a bunch of lies to divide us. Like men can get pregnant, babies are born racist, rioters are peaceful protesters. We don't need the police. Putin caused this inflation. The border is secured, windmills make airplanes fly, tanks can run on solar. Drilling in oil in America caused global warming, but drilling oil from dictators don't. Black voters don't have IDs, and everyone could afford a $60,000 electric car. These lies have made us unsafe, woke, and broke. You know the truth, but if you speak out, they'll cancel you out. They'll force you out of your job. They'll cancel you. They might even send a government agency after you. But this is how they get their way. This is how they keep their power. And this is how they're ruining this great country. These people call themselves progressives, but this isn't progress. This is self-destruction. They control our cities, defund our police. What a dumb idea that was. Let violent criminals loose and surprise when they kill again. Or worse, they ignore all the drugs that are coming into this, killing our kids, friends, families, and neighbors. They control the federal government, dress Joe Biden up as a woke outfit, you know that. And they walk around the White House as they push these policies that hurting Americans, showing weakness to our enemies. They pour millions of dollars in Raphael Warnock campaign so they can continue their destruction. In return, he's put a rubber stamp on Joe Biden policies. You've seen it. And he voted lockstep with New York Senator Chuck Schumer. I got news for him. Georgia, not New York. I know because I was Georgia born, Georgia bred, and when I die, I'll be Georgia dead. I know where Georgia stands, and I stand with you. I stand to fight for Georgia. I stand to fight like I never fought before. I will fight for your kids, fight for this country. I won't back down. Unlike my opponent, Senator Warnock, he's run these slick ads. You've seen him. And one of them, he says, he understands how the problems everyday Americans face. He should, because he and his friends in Washington caused them. In another ad, he says he's not a magician. No one asked him to do magic tricks. We don't expect him to be, all we expect him to do is be a good senator. And he's not good at that either, is he? He says he can't fix Washington in a year. Well, he's not even trying. Instead of working, instead of working on reining in the government spending, he's released press releases. He's right along with it. When Joe Biden waged war against American energy, he drives gas prices to an over $5 a gallon. Warnock goes right along. He voted 4 times against the Keystone Pipeline and voted to raise taxes on fuel when Joe Biden sliced open the southern borders and let criminals, drugs, and terrorists in. Warnock did nothing to stop it. Instead, he voted against securing the border, against deporting illegal immigrants whose convicted crimes. His voting has destroyed his economy and torn this community apart. Hey, I'm sure he's a nice guy, and it's okay to like him, but you don't have to put up with his politics. We're the fork in the roads, people. We have a clear choice. Reverend Warnock and Joe Biden have dragged us down the path of skyrocketing inflation, violence in our streets, chaos at the border, fentanyl killing our people, and school poisoning our kids' mind. Weak foreign policy, war in Europe, vaccine and mass mandate crushing government regulations, empty shelves, and we've seen them, disrespecting our Constitution, censorship, and the racial division. And if you're okay with that, send Senator Warnock back to Washington. He'll give you more of it. I can guarantee you that. But I think we've had enough of it. Don't you? We can't afford to be on that road because the toll and the price is too high. So run with me on a much better road, a road to the America's dream. It's a big, beautiful road that's open to everyone. It doesn't matter where you came from and what color you are. It's a road where everyone has the freedom to speak their mind, the freedom to keep all their hard-earned money, freedom to practice and their faith and make your own medical decisions, freedom to protect your family and yourself. It's a road that allows us to produce our own energy instead of asking enemies to produce it for us. It leads to securing our borders, safe communities, school choice, parents' rights, fairness with female athletes, smart foreign policies, less red tape for businesses, less government spending, better health and care, and most of all, unity. In America, we don't have to agree on everything, but we sure hear everyone out. We can accomplish a lot together, but first we have to focus on our common goals instead of our differences. I got to warn you though, it's going to be a bumpy ride, because the people in Washington who want to stay in power will come after me with more lies and attacks. They'll come after you too. But I'm prepared to take the hits. The harder they come, the harder I'll fight. And if you live in the state of Georgia, you're my family. And these radicals will have to come after me before they get to you. And I won't let that happen. Thank you. We won the conference, but the big game is in November. We have to get ready. I need all of my team. I need all Republicans, including those that voted in my primary opponents. I want Democrats, independents, all the good, decent people who want to protect their kids and their communities and to keep that dream alive. Hey, I like to say to my Democrat friends, don't worry that you'll be abandoning your party by supporting me. Your party abandoned you. They put a bunch of maniacs who drunk for power behind the wheel. They left you T-bone, stranded in the rain by the roadside. But I see you, and I pick you up and take you home. The important thing to remember is this election is not about Republican or Democrats. It's about America saving this country from a group saving this of America from a group that don't even like you. They don't even like this country. Compare them to these brave men and women in uniform who died for this country. Well, there's no comparison in my mind. It's time for us to wake up from this nightmare. It's time for us to get up, get back on track. We got work to do, and the way we do it is through our vote. Our right to vote is a gift that was paid for by blood and sweat from our patriots. We can't take this lightly. Georgia, do you realize that the future of this great country is on our shoulders? That's because the road to defeating Biden's agenda runs right through Georgia. And in order to stop Biden, we have to defeat Warnock. Plain and simple. Georgia, are you ready? Are you ready to take that seat back? Are you ready to take this country back? And what I'd like for you to do is join Team Herschel, make a donation, volunteer to help, and in November vote Herschel Jr. Walker for your U.S. Senate. All right? And I want you guys to repeat it to me real loudly, because this is something I always leave for the people to hear this. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So Georgia, are y'all ready?
There you have it. Once again, Herschel Walker winning the GOP Senate nomination. Now, Jeff, the big fight begins, taking on Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. When you listen to his speech tonight, if anyone knows Herschel Walker, you do. I mean, as an athlete and now as a politician, what do you make of his speech tonight?
Well, I keep thinking about our polling from 2 months ago that showed the Survey USA polling, which was 50% for Reverend Senator Warnock, 45% for Herschel Walker. And I think it is an intriguing race. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like in the fall. I think it's going to be somewhat unpredictable, and it will not be traditionalist in this sense. Yeah. Will he show up at debates? Will there be debates, or will there not be? Maybe they don't have Herschel Walker debate. Maybe they keep him under wraps and he continues to stay on the talking points that we heard tonight.
Yeah, probably so. You know, our producer just let us know that Governor Brian Kemp, the winner of that particular race, he is now stepping up to the podium so we can hear what he has to say.
Oh, man. Woo! All
All right, let's give it up for Amy Porter. What a great night to be a Georgian, everybody. I think we need to start tonight by giving a big round of applause to the best First Lady in the country, Marty Kemp. Marty and I are so blessed to be here with you all tonight, and especially to have our three daughters with us, Jarrett, Lucy, and Amy Porter. We are so proud of them, y'all. Thank y'all for your hard work and what you have been doing. As you all know, we started this journey as a family, and I couldn't be more thankful to have these four Kemp Strong ladies by my side through it all. I also want to thank my mom, Ann Cabness, for being here, for my sister Julie Reef and her family for being here. They have been great warriors for us as well. Thank you guys. Looking at the results tonight, it looks like Team Kemp has chopped a lot of wood over the last few months. And I will tell you, we could not be more thankful for the countless hours that all of you have poured into this primary race. The doors, the dials, the small dollar donations, the yard signs, and going to events. You name it, and Team Kemp has done it. So thank you all so much. And as we have always said, Team Kemp has always been built from the grassroots up, and this race has been no different. You have honored us with your time, with your efforts, and with your resources, but most importantly, with your belief in our campaign, and we cannot thank you guys enough. God bless you all. Thank you. Back when I first ran for the state senate, as a local construction guy in Athens who was fed up with government bureaucracy, there were a lot of people that said I wouldn't beat the incumbent state senator, but I knew better. I knew that hard-working Georgians felt the same way that I did, that government was too big and politicians were not listening. And that's why I ran. And I promised voters I would get government out of the way and ensure that Georgia's best and brightest days were still ahead, that I would put them first, ahead of the status quo and the politically correct, and that when I got into office, I would do exactly as I promised on the campaign trail. And because of a lot of people in this room, we won that race, and we delivered on those promises. In 2017, the same pundit said we couldn't win the governor's race. But once again, Marty and the girls and I, we knew different. You see, I had been to all 159 counties in this state, driving around in that green machine that Amy Porter mentioned. I know you all have seen it. And I slept on more than a few sofas. And we ate at just about every diner and meat and three that we came across. And I wasn't worried about what the political class had to say, because I was listening to the waitress at the barbecue joint in Rennes. I was listening to that dirt farmer in Dawson, the community banker in Blairsville, and the people of Quitman County who just wanted a grocery store in their community so they wouldn't have to drive across the state line to get food for their families. These hard-working Georgians knew the worth of a good-paying job, of safe communities and strong families. And they were telling me they didn't want more of the same. They wanted someone who would fight for them and for their values, someone who would put them first. Voters wanted someone that would look them in the eye and tell them the truth and then do what they said they would do. So in April of 2017, I did what a lot of people said I shouldn't have done. We did what we felt we were called to do. And you know what? We were right. Since our family has been honored to serve you, we have accomplished so much. And there's so many in this room that I've been serving with that's helped us do that. And I want to thank you all for your support and your leadership. We have a great team in our state. No one could have predicted the unprecedented challenges that we would all face together. But we hunkered down and we emerged stronger than ever. And we stood up for life at the heartbeat. We cracked down on gangs and human trafficking. We expanded access to rural broadband. We lowered the cost of health insurance. And we back and will continue to back our men and women in law enforcement. In Georgia, we protected both lives and livelihoods during the global pandemic. We passed historic tax cuts, raised teacher pay, and brought the two largest economic development projects in state history to Georgia. We created record jobs, kept woke politics out of the classroom and off our ball fields. We brought violent criminals to justice, put more money in our schools, and secured our elections. Even in the middle of a tough primary, conservatives across our state didn't listen to the noise. They didn't get distracted. They knew our record of fighting and winning for hardworking Georgians. And tonight, because of your support, Georgia Republicans went to the ballot box and overwhelmingly endorsed 4 more years of our vision for this great state. That's right. Thank you. I want to take just a minute, and I want to thank my opponents for the spirited debate that we had throughout this campaign. And I want to also thank David Perdue for the nice phone call that he gave me just a little while ago, pledging his full support to make sure that Stacey Abrams is never our governor. But I want to be crystal clear with all of you here tonight. Our battle is far from over. Tonight, the fight for the soul of our state begins to make sure that Stacey Abrams is not going to be our governor or the next president. And the reason that's so important is because Abrams would take Georgia in a completely different direction. We don't have to wonder what she would do if she was governor. She's already told us in her own words. When Georgia was the first state to reopen, Stacey Abrams campaigned for longer lockdowns. When Georgia got people back to work, Stacey Abrams wanted hard-working Georgians to stay in their basement. When Georgia got kids safely back in the classroom, Stacey Abrams wanted them to stay home in front of a screen. And when we gave people an option to wear a mask or get vaccinated, Stacey Abrams championed more government mandates on you and your family. If Stacey Abrams was ever governor of this state, Georgia would be just one COVID variant away from lockdowns, government mandates, schools shuttered, and businesses closed. But here's the truth. It's not just Stacey Abrams' pandemic politics that can change Georgia forever. Her extreme agenda for our state would not stop at COVID. In just the past few weeks, we passed the largest state income tax cut in history. And Stacey Abrams wants to raise your taxes. We're sending over $1 billion back to you, Georgia taxpayers, to help you deal with Biden's 40-year high inflation. Stacey Abrams disagrees with this. She thinks state government should keep more of your hard-earned tax dollars. We passed common sense legislation that gives parents a voice and keeps partisan agendas out of our schools and off our ball fields. But Stacey Abrams wants her woke politics to be the law of the land and the lesson plan in our classrooms. Well, you know what? Not on my watch. Because I know, and the people that I've been serving in that beautiful gold dome up the street know, our kids matter. Our parents matter. And we will not back down. Over the last 3 years, we passed legislation that toughens penalties on criminals and prevents local governments from defunding the police. Stacey Abrams has supported the defund the police movement. Stacey Abrams may have made excuses about a scheduling conflict when Joe Biden came to town. But the truth is this: she has embraced the disastrous Biden agenda at every single turn. Folks, you can see the choice on the ballot this November is crystal clear. Stacey Abrams' far-left campaign for governor in 2022 is only a warm-up for her presidential run in 2024. In fact, just a few days ago, Abrams was pretty honest about what she thinks about our great state. In front of a bunch of Democratic activists, she said she was tired of hearing how Georgia's a top state for business because she thinks we're the worst state to live in. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But I love being in the best state for business, and I also love living in Georgia. Don't you? That's why we're in the fight for the soul of our state. But here's the truth. Georgia will never be on Stacey's mind because her priorities are not our priorities. Her radical ideas are meant to please people in New York, California, and Chicago who are funding her campaign, so she can head straight out to Iowa or New Hampshire next year, leaving you, hard-working Georgians, behind to pick up the pieces. But unfortunately for Stacey Abrams, the people of our state aren't going to be used as a stepping stone to the White House. Because it's my belief that together, we're going to make sure Stacey's road to Pennsylvania Avenue stops right here in the Peach State. Because when Stacey's running for president, our campaign is going to be about building a safer, stronger state right here in Georgia, where our citizens have great opportunities to get a job, build a business, start a family, and achieve the American dream, no matter your zip code. Four more years of the Kemp administration will mean that you keep more of your hard-earned money. Your communities will be safe. Your kids will be in school without fear of partisan agendas in the classroom. Parents will have a voice, and we'll keep working to bring good-paying jobs to every corner of our state. Marty and the girls and I will be focused on putting you first, not the elites on the presidential campaign circuit. Like I have through these last 4 years, I will keep listening to the people who have given me the honor of being their 83rd governor. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a construction guy from Athens, a hard-working Georgian just like you are. But I want to warn everyone here tonight, make no mistake, this road will not be easy. The other side, as we know, is going to have the media. They're going to have the money. They're going to have every left-wing politician in the country coming down here to tell you who your next governor should be. The pundits have already started doubting us. They say Stacey's too tough to beat, for the second time, I might add. But you all know one thing. You know that they have underestimated Team Kemp before. And that's why we got to have everyone here tonight and our friends and followers all over this state to be in the fight with us over the next 5.5 months. We got to knock doors like we've never knocked them before. We got to make more phone calls. We got to talk to more of our friends and our neighbors. We got to get everybody in this fight to keep Georgia the best state in the country to live, work, and raise our families. So I will tell you what I say. Let's prove them wrong again and go 2-for-0 on November the 8th. Thank you all, and God bless you. Let's keep chopping, everybody. Thank you very much.
Governor Brian Kemp once again winning the GOP nomination, and we saw that in the polls, especially our polls leading up to this day, that former Senator David Perdue really behind in the polls. What do you think about this new fight now between Governor Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams?
I think it's going to be very interesting. We've used that term a lot tonight when talking about Herschel Walker and Reverend Warnock. But certainly the case with Stacey Abrams as well. Difference in styles, different in message, difference in base. And this is a different Brian Kemp than we saw 4 years ago. He was trailing, as Brendan showed us about a half hour ago, trailing mightily to Casey Cagle at this time 4 years ago.
Right.
And watching him publicly make speeches and all very different, didn't really have his footing back then, and he certainly does now. He's a very confident governor, a very confident politician with a very strong message. Whether you agree with it or not, the message is certainly there. And he has a sense of who he is and what he represents in 2022. And it will be a fascinating race, again, of two very strong figures in Georgia politics.
And we're still looking at many other races right here in Georgia. Brendan Keefe is standing by. He's the man by the board, as we said tonight. And what's the very latest there, Brendan?
Well, because this is a primary, we're not using blue and red. So it turns out Brian Kemp won the mustard color. But look at this. Do you see any green on this map? This is why that speech was so confident and why Perdue's concession was so gracious. David Perdue is not winning a single county in the state of Georgia. Granted, the race has been called for Brian Kemp, so this is over. But essentially, David Perdue didn't have a chance if he's not winning a single county in the state. Let's take a look at some other races. First, I want to take you up to the 14th Congressional District in the northwest part of the state. Marjorie Taylor Greene expected to win the nomination. She did. It's been called. That's done. But here's what I want to point. Pay attention now. Come closer. Come on. Come closer and take a look. Look at this number right here. 73,081. I want you to keep that in mind, because let's look at her Democratic challenger, likely to be Marcus Flowers. Huge percentage, right? Look at the percentages for a second, right? 69. Wow, he's actually doing better, 74. But look at the numbers down here. 15,865 total Democratic ballots. Now you're saying, okay, in Georgia primaries, Democrats can ask for Republican ballots, Republicans can ask for Democratic ballots, but if you add up all of the non-Marjorie Taylor Greene votes here, what do you get? 20,000 votes, tops? That's not going to overcome this 73,000 number in November. There are many months between now and November, but if you look at 73,000 versus 15,865, you can see why this is such a deeply, deeply conservative district and why Marcus Flowers is going to have an uphill battle. With that said, expect a lot of money to pour in
because there is a national interest in the outcome of this race in November. Let's jump over to the Secretary of State real quick. This has been fairly stable. We now have 35% of the vote in, but when it was 5%, these numbers were almost identical. Jody Hice, strong showing, but mostly in his 10th congressional district. Pretty much Brad Raffensperger is doing well in the rest of the state. It really comes down to what are we going to see come out of Fulton, where right now it's still 0% reporting. That's going to be interesting. If this number holds, no runoff. If it dips below 50, we're going to have a runoff with Jody Hice. Guys?
A man and his board. Thank you very much, Brendan. Stay with us. Our election coverage continues right here on WAPL.
Moment, a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and...
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain.
11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive Primetime begins with breaking news.
And we start with the very latest on the deadliest shooting at a U.S. grade school in almost a decade. An 18-year-old gunman opening fire today at a Texas elementary school. 18 children are dead.
Most of those little children are from a school that serves second, third, and fourth graders. One of the adults is a teacher. Police say the other was the grandmother of the shooter. Now, we are also told tonight the gunman is dead, and federal law enforcement officials say the death toll is expected to rise. Late word is that a Border Patrol agent who was nearby when the shooting started rushed into the school without waiting for backup and shot and killed the gunman who was behind a barricade. Tonight, President Joe Biden expressing his anger over this latest mass shooting.
When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone?
We are, of course, tracking the very latest updates on this story, and we will bring them to you right here and online the moment we get them in on 11alive.com.
The polls closed for Georgia's primary at 7 o'clock tonight, so here we are at 10:01, 3 hours and 1 minute later. Took roughly 90 minutes to declare the incumbent, Brian Kemp, the winner tonight. He beats his Donald Trump-backed challenger, David Perdue, after a furious push by the former president to punish Governor Kemp for not overturning the 2020 election results. Governor Kemp's victory sets up another general election race against the Democratic challenger, Stacey Abrams, who was unopposed in her primary primary tonight. So we head now to the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta. That is where we have been very busy tonight, where Governor Kemp just recently made his speech, where he was bringing up the name Stacey Abrams repeatedly. So get ready between now and early November, Jennifer. We are going to hear these two duke it out and battle it out wherever the forum, wherever the arena may be. And as far as arenas go, it's downtown Atlanta and the College Football Hall of Fame. That's where we find 11 Alive's Doug Richards quarterbacking our coverage at Governor Kemp's watch party.
Yes, Governor Kemp and his family just left the stage a few minutes ago after giving a stirring victory speech in front of a large crowd, probably 500 people in the College Football Hall of Fame arena area, and news media from across the country who have watched this race because of its national implications and about the degree to which it reflects on the continued influence of former President Donald Trump. Donald Trump, of course, campaigned hard against Governor Brian Kemp, and Governor Kemp still beat him. When he talked to his fans today, however, he never mentioned Trump. He talked about his accomplishments in office. He talked about cutting taxes, keeping the economy open during COVID. Let's hear a little bit of what he had to say.
4 more years of the Kemp administration will mean that you keep more of your hard-earned money. Your communities will be safe. Your kids will be in school without fear of partisan agendas in the classroom. Parents will have a voice, and we'll keep working to bring good-paying jobs to every corner of our state. Marty and the girls and I will be focused on putting you first, not the elites on the presidential campaign circuit.
And the elites include, he says, Stacey Abrams, his Democratic opponent, who he repeatedly criticized from the beginning of his speech to the end of the speech, really from the beginning of the campaign until just a few minutes ago. Stacey Abrams has been really, or the fear of Stacey Abrams or the aversion to Stacey Abrams has been a dominant theme of both Kemp's campaign and David Perdue's campaign. And now they get to face each other going into November. Live downtown, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
All right, Doug, and we will hear much more of that as this campaign season continues into the latter part of this year. Now we head to the Sheraton Suites Galleria in Atlanta. 11 Alive's Hope Ford live for us tonight from former Senator David Perdue's watch party. And Hope, Perdue conceding fairly early tonight. What's his message to supporters here?
Yeah, well, everything went pretty quickly. This race was called pretty quickly. He conceded pretty quickly, and this room, it emptied out pretty quickly as well. Perdue came out and said, look, it's obvious. He said, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to make a concession speech right now, but I also am not going to drag this out because we have other things to do. He said that he does trust the people of Georgia. He said that from the beginning, that whatever decision they made, he was going to help stand by it. And as you just heard my colleague say, Stacey Abrams was on the tongues of the folks over there at the Kemp campaign, also talking about her a lot here as well. Perdue said everything that he has said about Brian Kemp in the past, he still sticks by it right now. But he also said one other thing is true, that Kemp is much better for Georgia than Stacey Abrams.
I want you to know tonight that I am fully supporting Brian Kemp in his run to beat Stacey Abrams. He's a fellow Republican, and I'm going to tell you, the failed Democrat platform right now is so obvious on the federal level, we don't want it to come to Georgia. And this is what I'm telling you tonight. It's emotional for all of us. We're disappointed. I get that. Let's take a few hours to lick our wounds, and tomorrow morning you're going to hear me going to work for Brian Kemp to make damn sure that Stacey Abrams is never governor of Georgia.
And from the beginning, Perdue has said that he does not believe that Kemp can beat Abrams by himself. He said that if Georgia still wants a Republican governor, that Perdue would be the best choice for it. But if it's not going to be Perdue, then he has to put everything he has behind Kemp so that Kemp can continue to be governor and beat Abrams. So they're going to get up tomorrow. They're going to, like he said, they're going to link their wounds tonight, but they're going to get up tomorrow and they're going to go to work because this is definitely going to be a fight until November.
All right, Hope Ford for us this evening. Thank you so much. Certainly some forceful words from former Senator Perdue there. Another race called early tonight, the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate. 6
candidates looking to move on to November, and the name recognition clearly won out here. Herschel Walker, the famed Georgia running back, 1982 Heisman Trophy winner, easily won out. The pride of Wrightsville, Georgia. He will take on the incumbent, the Reverend Senator Raphael Warnock, in November. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley at the historic Georgian Terrace Hotel in Atlanta, right across the street from the Fox Theater. When you talk about the history of Atlanta, that's one of the hotels you begin with, and that's where Republican candidate Herschel Walker had his party tonight.
Hey, good evening to you, Jeff. That's right. Herschel Walker just moments ago graciously accepted the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate. In November, he will face Reverend Raphael Warnock, the incumbent, on the Democratic side of this race. Let's take a look here, and you can see Walker is mingling amongst his crowd of supporters here at the Georgian Terrace Theater in Midtown Atlanta. Before he got up on stage to speak, he was greeted by former President Donald Trump, who backed Walker early on in this race. Donald Trump offered his congratulations to Walker, and then once Walker took the stage, he asked for a moment of silence and prayer in response to the Texas school shooting earlier today. Here is how Walker described how he'll now take on this race going forward, now securing the GOP nomination.
I don't look like a politician. I don't talk like a politician. I don't even dress like a politician because my neck is a little bit too big for this tie. But I like not being a politician. Politicians are messing this country up. But don't you worry, I'm here to help fix it. Are y'all ready?
A little bit of insight as well for how Walker will tackle the Senate race from this point forward. He blamed President Biden for a lot of the issues we are seeing now with inflation, with families struggling. Walker said his opponent now in November, he knows that will be Reverend Warnock, has been complicit in some of those issues and has been, quote, a rubber stamp for the president, and he hopes to bring change to Congress if elected in November. Coming up at 10:30, we are going to tell you how Walker is relishing the challenge now, because he says this race is only going to get harder from here.
Well, this whole candidacy, the result of former President Trump insisting that Herschel Walker, his longtime friend, run for office.
Joe Ripley reporting for us tonight. Joe, thank you. The AP reporting Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has defeated 5 Republicans. Greene now advances to the November election, where she'll face the winner of a 3-way Democratic primary in Northwest Georgia's 14th district.
All right, there are several other big races in tonight's primary. A spotlight on the Democratic battle for the state's 7th congressional district. This race unusual, 2 incumbents going head-to-head. AP has called it for Lucy McBath tonight. A Democratic portion of McBath's old 6th district got moved into the 7th during redistricting. I think everybody assumed this was going to be close. That's not been the case. McBath now is going to wrestle that seat away from Carolyn Bordeaux, who won the seat 2 years ago. But these things change very quickly, and with that change in district, it is now Lucy McBath, as Associated Press says, that she is the winner. And we're going to begin with 11 Alive's Rebecca Lindstrom. She is with Carolyn Bordeaux's party tonight, and not much of a party here at 10 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Well, it is winding down, but they say that is because of the time, not because of any news that has come from the Associated Press. In fact, they believe that there are still plenty of votes to count and that they are going to be going home to watch those election results come in. Carolyn Bordeaux was here earlier this evening, taking about 20 minutes to talk with her supporters. There is no doubt, though, that this evening the shooting in Texas has kind of altered the tone of what would have normally been a more joyous time for the supporters to get together. While gun control is an issue that Lucy McBath has tried to use as one of her primary platforms in her campaign, Bordeaux says it's an important issue to her as well. With a son in elementary school, she calls today's act a grievous blow.
You know, it just brings us to our knees when we see this. But I suspect many of us, myself included, are deeply frustrated that this happened 10 years ago in Connecticut. And we still have not addressed gun safety reform. So I carry with me back a lot of frustration that I know a lot of people here feel, that we need to start delivering for the American people. And gun control is one of the areas where we need to deliver and get results.
Of course, as we head into the new year, only one of the Democrats, either Lucy McBath or Carolyn Bourdeaux, will have the chance to be fighting that fight in Congress. Obviously, as we talked about earlier, Lucy McBath choosing to run here in the 7th. So now you've got two incumbents running against each other, and those supporters here stay. Again, there's still plenty of votes to be counted. They're not yet giving up. Back to you.
Rebecca, thank you so much. Now let's head over to the Hilton Atlanta Northeast for Congresswoman Lucy McBath. 11 Alive's Kristen Crowley following that race for us this evening. What's the reaction there now that the AP has called this race?
Yeah, a lot of excitement here, although they have not announced it in this hall that the AP has called the race. It was just a few minutes ago, maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago, one of the campaign managers came on stage and said that they had heard some confirmation from a few places, but they wanted more confirmation that she had actually be the projected winner, and they haven't been back since. So I'm not sure this room is very aware at this moment right now. I can't imagine, though, once they are, that this is going to erupt in a bunch of applause. They were watching some Lucy McBath videos on the television a little bit earlier and applauding every time she spoke. We had a few questions going into tonight. You know, was McBath going to win? And if she did okay, was she going to go into a runoff? Well, looks like both of those questions are answered right now. It seems that she is the projected winner for this district, and what was one of the most contentious races out of all of Georgia, just because it was two colleagues turned competitors. Now, again, there has been a little bit of a shift in the night tonight because of what happened in Texas. McBath says a lot of her focus today, not on the race, not on how she does, but on those victims in Texas. And it appears that McBath is actually going to be coming up here and speaking to us soon. We'll give you an update as soon as we can.
All right, Kristen Crowley, thank you. And we'll be going back to you momentarily for that speech. Also tonight, referendums in Cobb County asking voters in 3 communities if they wanted to break away and become their own cities. Now, here are the numbers right now. No at almost 80%. So that certainly has been rendered verdict here at this point tonight. That is in East Cobb. How about Lost Mountain Cityhood? No to that as well. Let's keep on moving. And we don't know how many precincts in all have reported in all of these, some of these that we're seeing right now, but that's enough of that. So, all right. Thank you.
Well, I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Trackers, and we are tracking some areas of rain. Not a lot here in the city of Atlanta, but we have some showers and storms to the east, to the north and west, and also to the west of us. In fact, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect over into Alabama. It does include a very small part of Cleburne County here, the far western part of Cleburne. Most of that is just outside of Cleburne County, with those storms moving in over Piedmont. Main threats there, strong winds in association with this storm, some small hail. That's moving to the north and east. We'll keep an eye on that to see if it's going to make it into Floyd County. We do have a few lighter showers in Floyd right now. To the east of us, it's been very active east of Lake Oconee with thunder and lightning that's moving up toward Washington, Georgia. About 167 lightning strikes there in the past 15 minutes. Additional storms in northeast Georgia that are moving away as well. Stay with us. We'll keep tracking these storms and let you know about more rain and storms possible over the next couple of days. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All day long.
You'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use near me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can...
Welcome back, everybody. Joining me now, a very familiar face here to the headquarters of 11 Alive Television, Dr. Andra Gillespie, the Emory University political scientist and our 11 Alive political expert. So what do you think tonight? What have you heard that has sort of gotten your attention?
Well, the things that have gotten my attention are, one, I was listening to the cadence of Herschel Walker's talks. This is the first time that I think a lot of people have gotten to hear him rhetorically speaking. And I think that he is exuding a certain wit and charm and homespunness that I don't think should be underestimated in this general election cycle. And in particular, I've had the sense for the last couple of weeks that religious undertones and overtones are going to be part of this campaign, much as they were in 2020, but done differently because it's Herschel Walker and because he's African American, and that was confirmed when I heard the speech, especially when they ended the speech kind of chanting from Isaiah. The other thing that I think has been interesting tonight is to watch Brad Raffensperger not just pull ahead, which I wasn't surprised by, but to see that he's been hovering just above 50%. And so I've been prepared for this race to go to a runoff. It may not go to a runoff tonight, and so it will be really interesting to see what the final tally looks like and whether or not Raffensperger actually wins this outright.
I've known Herschel Walker for toward 40 years, and I think the one thing about Walker as well is his warmth. He's warm to the touch. That's a big deal, whether you are running for office or you're sitting on a television news set or anything that you do in corporate America. Warm to the touch is a big deal.
And I think warm to the touch might actually help him overcome the fact that he may not be as prepared or have the same grasp or command of the issues, though he's trying, as Senator Warnock's going to have, and why by conventional standards he might not seem as articulate. Like there's something that exudes a certain level of authenticity that sometimes kind of overcomes the sort of lack of oratory skills that we have grown accustomed to with Senator Warnock.
I've got seconds left. I'm being told to wrap. Lucy McBath, surprised by the margin of victory tonight that we're seeing?
So far, but I'm going to wait to see what the final tally looks like. I did expect that race to be closer.
All right. Dr. Gillespie, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
We're hit. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m., where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming.
We continue to track some of these showers and thunderstorms that are out there tonight. There's not a lot going on here in the Atlanta area, but elsewhere we've got the showers and storms to the north and west of us, also over to the east of us. I want to take you over to the west here, and you can see how those storms over in Alabama are close to the Georgia line. This one did prompt a severe thunderstorm warning for Cleburne County. It's just a very small part of Cleburne County. It's also Calhoun County over in Alabama near Piedmont. Very heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. That's moving up toward the north and east. Some of these showers extend up through north parts of Paulding County, actually Polk County, also into Floyd County. A little bit of lightning near Rome right now with some of those showers are moving in there, and that's what's left of that warning that's going to be expiring very soon. Also to the east of us, another cluster of showers. This is mainly the heaviest stuff is just to the east of Lake Oconee. Still some rain around Lake Oconee and into Morgan County, also into Greene County and Oconee County, but the stronger storms are over here between Crawfordville and Washington. That's moving up toward the north. Lightning count with this coming down. We've got about 65 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. So you can see that's mainly from Woodville, moving in closer to Enterprise. Northeast Georgia has some showers still around Clayton. That's about to move up toward the north and to the east as well. So these showers are mainly moving northeast. These are also moving northeast. I want you to be prepared for the potential for a few showers while you're trying to sleep tonight, but nothing should be that strong or anything. Here's a live look in Rome. I mentioned those showers that are falling there, and you can see that the roads are wet in the downtown area. Every once in a while in the distance there we can see some lightning from those storms that are over in Alabama, but the Storm Prediction Center has taken us out of that marginal risk or the level 1 risk for tonight. However, tomorrow we do go back into a level 1 risk, really from Atlanta over to the west, and that's mainly going to be in the afternoon hours where we see that higher risk for some stronger storms. And then on Thursday we have a better coverage of storms, as well as the potential that some of those could turn severe. So tonight we will see a few rain showers around, nothing particularly that strong, and then during the day tomorrow, the first part of the day looks like it will be dry. Second half of the day, better chance for showers and a few thunderstorms, and then Thursday, that better chance for some showers and storms to roll on through. Rain chance at 80%. Some of those could be severe Thursday. That rain ending on Friday, clearing out, and then just in time for the long holiday weekend. We're looking dry, but we're warming up to near 90 though by Memorial Day and on Tuesday.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Brendan Keefe tracking the numbers for us all night long. He joins us next with the latest look at these ongoing and incoming results on a busy primary night. We'll be right back.
Where you find out what's happening Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place...
And welcome back. I'm Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe, but on election night, I'm the guy at the big board. So let's take a look at the numbers. First, we're looking at the Secretary of State race on the Republican side because incumbent Brad Raffensperger is in a fight to try to retain the Republican nomination, and it's close. Jody Hice has been challenging him. He's an election denier, believer in the big lie, and as a result, he has garnered a lot of support among people who believe Donald Trump really won Georgia. He's very strong in his own district, the old 10th district here, where you can see this coloring here shows that Jody Hice is doing well. And you're saying, wait, look at all that green. Why aren't these numbers bigger? Let's go to the heat map. You can see that Jody Hice, where he is strong, is stronger than where Raffensperger is strong. It's just that Raffensperger has more of the map. When we take the heat map off, you also then add these populated areas, like Fulton County, where only 26% of the vote is in. In places like Augusta, it's 98%. So there isn't a lot left on this map for Jody Hice to make up this difference. With that said, this is really close in terms of going to a runoff, but it's been incredibly stable all night. We're now at 53% reporting. When it was 5% reporting, these numbers were very similar. If it's over 50%, there's no runoff. On the Democratic side, Bee Nguyen, who actually was very strong in the state house fighting against election theft lies, she's actually running away with this, but not over 50% at any point this night, and these other challengers are battling it out over who's going to be in a runoff if this doesn't get over 50%. We're going to finish up with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It looks like these numbers are similar in terms of percentages, but in reality there aren't enough Democrats to overcome this election at this point, and we'll be right back.
11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across across metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps
driving.
you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Live News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive.
11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive News Primetime starts now.
Here's the very latest on the deadliest shooting at a U.S. grade school in almost a decade. Today, an 18-year-old gunman opening fire at a Texas elementary school, killing 19 children and at least one teacher.
Most of those dead are little children from a school for second, third, and fourth graders. Officials say he also shot his grandmother, but she survived. We're also told tonight the gunman is dead, and federal law enforcement officials say the death toll is expected to rise. Late word that a Border Patrol agent who was nearby when the shooting started rushed into the school without waiting for backup and shot and killed the gunman who was behind a barricade. Tonight, President Biden expressing his anger over this latest mass shooting.
When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone?
Again, we are tracking the very latest updates on this heartbreaking story. We'll bring them to you here and online on 11alive.com.
Polls closed for Georgia's primary at 7 o'clock. It's now almost 10:35. And it roughly took 90 minutes to declare the incumbent, Brian Kemp, the winner of the gubernatorial chase on the Republican side. He beat his Donald Trump-backed challenger, the former U.S. Senator David Perdue, after a furious push by the former president to punish the sitting governor for not overturning the 2020 election results. Governor Kemp's victory sets up another general election against Democrat Stacey Abrams, who was unopposed in her primary. So we head to the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta. That is where we find 11 Alive's Doug Richards at Governor Kemp's watch party.
Yes, you know, I mean, victory parties are always buoyant, but this one seemed particularly buoyant to me. And it's probably because of the long odds that Governor Kemp seemed to face at the early part of his campaign, when he faced not only a former U.S. Senator, but also a former U.S. President, who were both gunning for him to lose this primary election. And instead of losing, Governor Brian Kemp came out resoundingly on the winning side. It was a victory that surprised even his most optimistic supporters, who were hoping for maybe a 60% margin or so. Let's hear a little bit of what Governor Kemp told them after learning that he was the winner.
4 more years of the Kemp administration will mean that you keep more of your hard-earned money. Your communities will be safe. Your kids will be in school without fear of partisan agendas in the classroom. Parents will have a voice, and we'll keep working to bring good-paying jobs to every corner of our state. Marty and the girls and I will be focused on putting you first, not the elites on the presidential campaign circuit.
And that, of course, was a dig at Stacey Abrams, the Democrat who will face him. Kemp made repeated references not only to wanting primarily, more than anything else, as his goal to defeat Stacey Abrams and the liberalism and socialism that Republicans like to say that she would bring to Georgia, but also kind of mocking her for saying at times that her ultimate ambition is to be president. They don't want her to, they say, to use Georgia as a stepping stone to the White House. Governor Kemp will face her in November. Live at the College Football Hall of Fame, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. Another race called early tonight, the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate.
And 6 candidates looking to move on to November, and name recognition clearly winning out. Herschel Walker, the famed UGA running back, 1982 Heisman Trophy winner, Dallas Cowboy, Minnesota Viking, easily won out and will take on the incumbent, the Reverend Raphael Warnock, in November. This will be interesting. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley at the Georgian Terrace Hotel in Atlanta with the Republican candidate Herschel Walker's party tonight still going on.
That's right, and Herschel Walker is still mingling amongst his supporters here at the Georgian Terrace Hotel here across from the Fox in Midtown Atlanta. Once touted for what he did as a freshman on UGA's football field, now Herschel Walker is entering a freshman chapter and trying to right it by becoming the GOP nominee for U.S. Senate. We now know in November he will take on Reverend Raphael Warnock, the incumbent, and really this race was not close at all. The GOP primary at last check, Herschel Walker had 70% of the vote with just over half of precincts reporting. There was no chance of a runoff with this one. Instead, Herschel Walker ran away with the GOP nomination. It was called early on, and now he turns his sights to facing Reverend Warnock come November. Here's what he had to say about his upcoming opponent.
Hey, I'm sure he's a nice guy, and it's okay to like him, but you don't have to put up with his politics. We're the fork in the roads, people. We have a clear choice.
And you can bet a lot of money is going to be poured into this race because it could, as Walker alluded to in his victory speech earlier tonight, decide control, balance of power in the Senate. And we all know how important Georgia has played in that role once before. We'll send things back to you.
And we are also tracking showers and a few thunderstorms that are out there tonight. But here in Atlanta, it's pretty quiet. It's in the outlying areas north and west of us where we have storms, also to the east of us where we have some of those storms. This one over the line into Alabama in Cleveland County was classified as a severe thunderstorm earlier with a warning there. But they haven't issued a new warning upstream from that as that's moving up toward the north and east. This is extending, though, into parts of Polk County and then into Floyd County where they've got some good heavy rain coming in right now near Rome. Also some thunder and lightning there. Also over to the east of us, it was very active here around Lake Oconee and just to the east of Oconee. That's all moving to the north. The lightning with this is beginning to diminish somewhat. Also still some showers up in parts of Rabun County and northeast Georgia. But Atlanta, we're looking pretty good. We still have the potential tonight for a few scattered showers to move through our area while you're sleeping tonight. Stay with us. We are not finished with the rain or storm threat yet. We'll break that all down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Storm. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is...
All right, joining me right now, Dr. Andrew Gillespie, an Emory University political scientist, and has joined us for many years talking about politics in the great state of Georgia. Let's talk about the 10th Congressional District, which was Jody Hice's district, and it stretches from Athens all the way toward Augusta. And Vernon Jones has been the star in this, backed by former President Trump. Mike Collins right now at 25%, Mr. Jones with 20%, and Paul Brown, the one-time congressman, at 15%. So what's your view on this? The whole Vernon Jones issue in the 10th?
Well, Vernon Jones, won the endorsement because he agreed to drop out of the gubernatorial race to go run in the 10th district, and he did it with Trump's backing. Trump's backing is probably putting him into second place because he lives in DeKalb County, as far as I still know. So he's running out of place in this district, and he probably, if he had done this on his own without Trump's backing, probably would have done worse. But I think the question becomes, if you get the endorsement of Trump and ultimately you end up losing, and I don't know what's going to happen in a runoff election, but assuming that that Collins and Jones maintain this position for the rest of the evening and they go to a runoff, how much will that Trump endorsement actually carry him moving over into this particular district? It was again a gamble, so it helped to get him to a runoff. We'll see whether or not it actually helps to actually get him to Congress.
I moderated this debate over at Georgia Public Television, and Mike Collins and Vernon Jones really mixed it up. Vernon Jones is a good debater. He was rock solid in the debate, and Collins was good in his own folksy way as well.
Well, one of the things that Collins kept on bringing up was, one, Jones is not from the district, and two, Jones is a recent Republican. And those things could, in fact, be liabilities for him. And so, I think the lesson of tonight with respect to endorsements is they matter. They do help to convey information, especially for people, who are relatively unknown in the jurisdiction in which they're running, but they're not the be-all, end all of what's going on. And so you still have to do everything else. And so it may come down to the fact that people may be more comfortable and familiar with Collins, who's from the district, whose father represented the district before him, than they are with the former Democrat turned Republican who's from DeKalb County.
Seconds left before we have to take a break here. If somebody would have told you 6.5 months ago that David Perdue would be no factor whatsoever against Brian Kemp, would you have been surprised?
Somewhat surprised. I'm not surprised that he lost, though. It was always a huge gamble. It was a risk. There's a reason why politicians of his stature usually don't challenge incumbents in primary elections, and this is the reason why. I think this is more spectacular than we thought that it was going to be, but I think ultimately it wasn't a surprise that David Perdue would lose.
Thank you, Dr. Gillespie. We appreciate it. We'll take a break right now. We continue on this election night.
Live storm trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damage and winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you
drive.
get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
we could be talking about damage and winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
Well, look at us here in Atlanta. We are sandwiched right in between two areas of rain and storms. We have storms to the north and west of us, also storms over to the east of us, but nothing happening here in Atlanta. Now, we still have the potential tonight with some moisture coming in from the south that we'll have a few spotty showers around Atlanta, but right now, most of the strongest activity is over here, just over the line into Alabama. This was a severe thunderstorm warning earlier for parts of Cleburne County, Alabama. This moved over Piedmont, Alabama. Now now it's pushing up into parts of Floyd County, where we have some heavy rain in Rome. That heaviest part is still over on the Alabama side, but it'll be clipping parts of Polk County and into Floyd County in just a little bit, with mainly heavy rain, also thunder and lightning, some gusty winds with that. But as of right now, this is not classified as severe. We did have some stronger storms over around Lake Oconee and to the east of that. Still some showers lingering around Athens, into Oconee County, Morgan County, Greene County. The strongest of this now is around Enterprise, moving up toward Elbert County with more of that lightning. These storms up in Raven County, crossing over into parts of South Carolina. And we'll keep seeing that influx of moisture coming in from the south. So still the potential for some showers around tonight, but we're not looking for anything strong. Now, it's been heavier in Rome. We had some good rain just a little while ago in Rome, where that was showing up on our tower cam here just a few moments ago. But you can see here that the roads are wet. Nothing severe expected for tonight. Tomorrow, we do have that risk for a marginal or level 1 risk for some storms. And then on Thursday, that covers all of us, and we have a better chance for some rain and also that potential for storms during the day on Thursday. Tomorrow, you can see scattered showers, better chance later on in the afternoon, with highs near 81 degrees on our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day. We're going to give that a 5 on the Wizometer. Here's the forecast track showing tonight just a few of those spotty showers around. Clouds in the morning. Once we get into the afternoon, we'll see a few additional showers that are going to be developing here. Again, some of those could be strong, but the storm risk is on the low end. And then, as you can see here on the 7-day outlook, the better chance for showers and storms on Thursday. Then on Friday, rain ending, getting better just in time for the long holiday weekend, but also warming up. We're back up to around 88 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. Here's your weather wow moment for the day. Barry Smith at Lake Lanier. A nice picture of sunset from yesterday. Thanks, Barry, for sending that to us. Barry is one of our 11 Alive community storm trackers. We would love for you to be a part of that group. On Facebook, just search 11 Alive Storm Trackers. Ask to become a member, and you're in.
You find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you
driving.
get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing
we
in.
could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you
driving.
get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me. 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. 11 Alive News at 11 p.m. starts now.
We begin this evening with the heartbreaking news in South Texas. The death toll growing now to at least 19 students and 2 adults in that shooting at Robb Elementary School, the school that serves 2nd through 4th graders. Here's what we know right now. The suspected gunman is 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. Law enforcement believe he first shot his grandmother, then crashed his car near the elementary school and entered it wearing body armor. Responding officers shot and killed him. Officials say Ramos was a high school student in Uvalde, Texas, the same community where this shooting took place, about an hour and a half west of San Antonio. He is believed to have acted alone in this. President Joe Biden speaking tonight, saying he is tired of these shootings.
I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage.
We have reached out to local school districts and law enforcement about the shooting. The FBI's Atlanta office says it has no specific information that would suggest a pending threat anywhere in the state of Georgia, but it remains vigilant. Fulton County School District telling us that officials will remain vigilant there as well during these last 2 days of school this week, and staff will be available for any students seeking counsel. Gwinnett County Schools also saying it doesn't know of any threat to its district, but will have increased patrols tomorrow to help everyone feel safe. Tonight we are sharing our condolences with the families in Texas and the first responders who rushed out there into the scene, including at least law enforcement agent one, or at least those who were injured possibly by the suspect here, leaving many to wonder, when will this gun violence come to an end?
All right, turning now to our other top story tonight. The results still coming in right now for Georgia's primary elections. Minute by minute, we are getting a better idea of who's going to be coming out on top. You're looking at the candidates in some of those top races, which could sway not only Georgia politics, but national policies as well. And right now, our team of reporters are spread out throughout Metro Atlanta, bringing you the latest updates on the races impacting you and your family.
So let's kick things off with the gubernatorial race. Brian Kemp heading to face Stacey Abrams, a Democrat, in November after beating former Senator David Perdue by a wide enough margin in the GOP primary to avoid a runoff. Hope Ford at the Perdue campaign tonight, and Doug Richards at Kemp's watch party in downtown Atlanta. Doug, what can you tell us about how the governor is celebrating and getting ready to move forward tonight?
What's the messaging here?
Well, he was celebrating at a very buoyant victory party here at the National Football or College Football Hall of Fame. He stopped speaking about an hour ago. There is still a fair amount of energy in this room. They are celebrating the fact that Governor Kemp overcame the opposition of a former U.S. Senator and a former U.S. President in his primary in order to win the victory tonight. And then he set his sights on Democrat Stacey Abrams and talked about what it would be like facing her.
But I want to be crystal clear with all of you here tonight. Our battle is far from over. Tonight, the fight for the soul of our state begins to make sure that Stacey Abrams is not going to be our governor or the next president.
Now, Stacey Abrams has been a constant theme throughout Kemp's campaign, trying to energize conservatives against what they view as her policies that would be far more liberal than the ones that the state has been accustomed to over the last 20 years or so. And it will be a buoyant campaign between these two as we head into November. Live downtown, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. Moving now to former Senator David Perdue. Hope Ford, you're at his campaign headquarters tonight in Purdue, conceding early tonight. What's he now saying to supporters and to the Republican Party as a whole in Georgia?
Yeah, this all went by very quickly. About an hour and a half after everything closed is when Perdue came out and conceded, saying that he had already called Kemp and congratulated him. Now, he said that he didn't want to concede, but he also didn't want to drag any of this out. And he may have had an idea coming into all this that things were not going to go his way, because the room that we're in right now where the election party happened, it's quite small. It's one of the tiniest election night watch party rooms that I've seen since covering elections now. So he may have had some idea about that. But either way, he says that he is ready to team up with Kemp and take on their common enemy, Stacey Abrams.
We trust the people of Georgia, and we did it knowing that we were going up against an incumbent governor. And, everything I said about Brian Kemp was true, but here's the other thing I said was true. He is a much better choice than Stacey Abrams. And so we are going to get behind our governor.
And Perdue has said that he does not believe that Kemp can beat Abrams on his own, and that he is going to need the help specifically from that silent majority, those MAGA voters. But I will tell you that there were some people in this room tonight that said that they will not support Kemp no matter what Perdue says. And they said that there's really, when they look at Abrams and when they look at Kemp, there's really no good side here. So it'll be interesting to see how Perdue can help really rally his base to support Kemp.
All right, Hope, some interesting commentary there tonight. Thank you so much. And as we mentioned, in November, it will be a rematch for Governor Kemp against Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams. She ran unopposed in this primary. Abrams lost to Kemp when she ran against him for governor in 2018, but since then, she has devoted a tremendous amount of time and energy to getting Democratic voters registered in Georgia and across the country.
Most polls in Georgia closed about 4 hours ago, and right now, most counties are still in the middle of tallying up all those votes. Brendan Keefe joins us from the newsroom to bring you the very latest numbers from around Metro Atlanta.
Ron, welcome to the lightning round. Let's get started, of course. Just a big wrap up here. Herschel Walker, he's the nominee in the Senate race for the Republicans. Raphael Warnock easily winning as the Democrat to go for re-election. Governor Kemp, he's going to be the Republican nominee. Stacey Abrams ran unopposed. You know all that. Here's where it gets interesting. Brad Raffensperger has been right around this number all night, but now we're at 71% reporting. Jody Hice, could this be a runoff? This number would have to drop in favor of Jody Hice. Where are the votes outstanding? Well, there's still a lot left in Atlanta, so that's going to be interesting. This could be won outright tonight in terms of the nomination for the incumbent Brad Raffensperger. On the Democrat side, Bee Nguyen with a strong showing. She's a state rep who spoke out against the big lie. She is actually running to run re-elections in Georgia. This is likely going to a runoff, but these numbers could go up if some more votes are still out there for her. Congressional District 6, Rich McCormick, he is defeating the Trump pick of Jake Evans right now, but that could be headed to a runoff. And in the 7th District, Lucy McBath, as you know, winning easily to try to stave off essentially losing her seat to gerrymandering. That's the story here on the big board. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brendan. And you just talked about this, Brendan. We're going to take a quick look at the politics. So this is what you can expect from 11 Alive in the next 10 minutes. After weather, a look at how Cobb County residents voted on the possibility of 3 new cities, plus a look at the Raphael Warnock-Herschel Walker matchup in the U.S. Senate race. And coming up after the break, we're going to head to District 7, where 2 members of Congress have been battling it out tonight. And we're going to show you which one is moving on.
But we do want to get you now to your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. Chris, we saw some showers tonight around the area. What are you tracking for us right now?
You know, it's interesting. Looking here in Atlanta, we do not have any rain here, but we're surrounded by it. We have rain and storms to the west, rain and storms to the east of us. In fact, you can see that heaviest activity where we had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier that included parts of Cleveland County, Alabama. That's no longer severe, but it's bringing in some heavy rain into parts of Polk County, Floyd County, up near Rome and northwest Georgia. But that's moving up toward the north and east. And then these showers and storms to the east of us near Athens, over into parts of Oconee County. The strongest stuff near Elberton, crossing over into South Carolina. That's moving away too. So for Atlanta tonight, yeah, we still have the potential for a few showers while you're sleeping tonight, but nothing should be particularly that strong. Here's a live look in Rome, and you can see how the roads are wet from some of that rain that's moving through that area. And every once in a while in the distance, we can see some lightning flashing there in that dark sky. Stay with us. We'll talk about additional rain and storm risks that are going to last for the next couple of days. More on that timing coming up.
All right, Chris, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Some voters not just deciding on political leaders. In Cobb County, voters were asked if there should be 3 new cities. The decisions possibly impacting taxes for everyone across the county. So here are some of the results coming in. For East Cobb, looking like 75% saying no to East Cobb cityhood. And for Lost Mountain, 61% saying no to cityhood for Lost Mountain. We do not have results in just yet for Vinings, but of course we'll continue to track those numbers for you. John Schierick joining us now live in what would be the city of East Cobb. John, people opposing the creation of East Cobb are very happy so far this evening.
Right, and getting back to Vinings, I just saw some early returns from Vinings showing also the voters there so far rejecting cityhood for Vinings also. And people here who oppose the city of East Cobb are happy. Those who wanted to create the 3 new cities in Cobb County saw all advantages, such as perhaps more local control, population, and dense development. But opponents of the city of East Cobb were not convinced that services would not necessarily improve and that taxes might even go up. To watch the returns trickle in, Mindy Ziegler, chair of the Cobb Alliance, is liking the early numbers against cityhood.
I am very encouraged that the community has spoken out against this. It was a rush deal. There was a lot of missing information, and I feel like the community has stepped up to say this isn't what we want.
I just spoke with a leading supporter of cityhood for East Cobb, Craig Chapin, and he says it's premature to comment so far because he wants to see more returns coming in first. Back to you.
All right, John Sherrick for us in Cobb County. Right now, the Associated Press is projecting Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock will face off Republican Herschel Walker in November, and we just heard from Walker within the last 90 minutes. Joe Ripley is live with Walker's team right now. So, Joe, what did Walker have to say about his primary victory?
Well, Herschel Walker, once known as a superstar for the University of Georgia, helping lead them to a 1980 national championship, he ran away with the primary race tonight. You can see on the hats that were given out here tonight, Run, Herschel, Run. Herschel ran away. 70% of the vote amassed in that GOP primary for U.S. Senate, and that's with about 68% of precincts reporting. This was not really close. The results were called early on, and you can, we heard earlier tonight the inspiration behind these hats. Former President Trump backing Herschel Walker in his Senate run, congratulating him, and we also heard from a number of his teammates back at the University of Georgia as well. Walker was gracious, humble to accept the nomination for GOP Senate. He credited his faith and inspiration for running. I did ask him early on about the shooting, the backdrop of this event tonight, the tragic school shooting in Texas. Here's what he told me.
That is very, very sad. And you pray for the families. You pray for the people that have lost someone, and I will continue to pray. And at the same time, I want us to address some of those issues, not just pass it by. We would talk about it right now only to make people emotional, but people aren't doing anything to solve it.
Walker now turns his focus to November. He will face incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock with balanced power in Congress and in the Senate especially, possibly up for grabs.
Joe Ripley, thank you so much. And we appear to know the matchups in our race for governor here in Georgia and the Senate race for November. So new and next, we're giving you an inside look at what it will take in each of these races to win.
Using Near Me Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
proving to be a bit of an early election night with the projected winners already declared in the gubernatorial and Senate primary races much sooner than what we usually see. Tonight we are joined by Dr. Andra Gillespie with Emory University and our 11 Alive political expert. So let's talk about this governor's race. We're expecting to see this matchup between Governor Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams. What do you think might be different this go around?
Well, it's going to be very different than it was in 2018. 2018 was an open seat contest. Now Brian Kemp is the incumbent, and running against an incumbent is going to be a lot different than running against another challenger for Stacey Abrams. The other thing that's different is the national political climate is actually more favorable to Republicans this cycle than it was in 2018. So the Democrats have headwinds that they're going to have to encounter, but I expect that Abrams is going to do the same thing that she did in 2018. She's going to try to find every Democratic voter in the state, and she's going to try to get them to turn out to vote.
All right, turning to the big Senate race, a lot of folks talking about incumbent Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, two black men that will be running for Senate here in the state of Georgia. What do you think it will take for either of them to win?
So turnout, I think, is going to be really key. And so, again, whichever party gets more people to turn out to vote is going to be the one that wins. I expect that there's going to be a lot of party line voting in the state. One of the things that I'm anticipating is that there's going to be a lot of religious imagery in the state. Walker's speech alluded to it. He's already talked about the paradox of the pro-choice pastor, and I think he's going to try to leverage that. And he might actually do a more effective job landing body blows against Herschel Walker than Kelly Loeffler did trying to call into question black liberation theology in 2020.
All right, certainly something to watch. Also, folks have been talking a lot about former President Donald Trump and the impact he has had on many of the races here and across the country. He was backing many candidates. Some were favorable, some successful, some not successful. What impact do you think the former president will have moving into the fall?
Well, President Trump didn't have a good night tonight here in Georgia. I don't know if that's necessarily going to chasten him, and he could be a bit of a wild card in this particular race. I think people have learned the limits of the endorsement strategy. If you don't have the other pieces of your campaign together, having an endorsement from Donald Trump isn't necessarily going to save you this time around. I think the big thing is whether or not he would actually be willing to bury the hatchet against Brian Kemp and support another fellow Republican in his quest to hold on to a gubernatorial seat.
Dr. Andra Gillespie, always a pleasure to hear your insights. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, ladies, thanks a lot. Right now, incumbent Lucy McBath is projected to win the 7th district. She's actually the current representative for the 6th district, but she decided to switch districts after new political maps made the 6th district a Republican stronghold. So she appears to have defeated Congresswoman Carolyn Bourdeaux in the 7th to move on. So we're going to have special live team coverage for you tonight. We're going to begin with Kristen Crowley at Congresswoman McBath's campaign party. Kristen.
Well, good evening, Ron. It was a bit of a muted celebration tonight. Now, the Congresswoman did come up with her hands waving, music was playing. She thanked her voters and her husband and her family, her daughter. But we thought the big takeaway today was going to be that two Democratic colleagues turned competitors because of redistricting. That's not at all what the focus ended up being. It was because of that shooting in Texas that took the lives of multiple school children and a teacher. McBath said she came to give one speech tonight, but was forced to make another.
We are better than this. We have to be better than this. We cannot be the only nation where one party sits on their hands as children are forced to cover their faces in fear.
An emotional night for McBath. Again, she lost her son to gun violence back in 2012, so this is a cause that is very near and dear to her, a cause that she told me she's going to continue to fight for when she heads back to Congress. Ron?
Yeah, what happened in Texas on the hearts and minds of all of us here. Thanks a lot, Kristen. Rebecca Lindstrom is going to pick up our coverage from Carolyn Bourdeaux's camp. So Rebecca Bourdeaux was actually the first Democrat to win the seat since 1995. So what is her message to the rest of the Democratic Party tonight?
Well, really, at this point in time, our message is this fight is not over yet. The party is over for tonight as far as those that are gathered, but they have just gone home to watch the results as they come in. They say that there are still too many votes to count to call this race. Now, Carolyn Bourdeaux was here earlier this evening. She took about 20 minutes to come by, talk to supporters, talk with the media, and she quickly expressed frustration with the outside money that has poured into this race that has helped Lucy McBath win name recognition as well as pay for a flood of TV ads. And she said she knew pretty early on that she was going to have to approach her campaign differently.
We really have been boots on the ground and turned out a really formidable field operation and field campaign. And I just want to say how extremely proud I am of this campaign and what we have done. It has been an extraordinary, valiant effort.
Congresswoman Bordeaux says that she is ready for a runoff should it come to that. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Rebecca. By the way, folks, to see the results as they keep coming into the newsroom, just text the word results to the number on your screen. That number right there is 404-885-7600.
Some folks tonight are hearing rain, seeing lightning, and hearing thunder, especially in northwest Georgia. Now, not much happening here in the Atlanta area right now, but we have these showers and storms here. Some of these in Floyd County have 40 to 50 mile an hour winds with them. They're not classified as severe. They're moving up toward the north and also to the east a little bit, stretching up into Calhoun. That's also going to move up into parts of Chattooga County with that thunder and lightning. On the east side, we do have some more showers and storms. These are right along the Georgia-South Carolina line, moving up into South Carolina. But here in Atlanta, we're missing a lot of this, and we may have just a couple of showers tonight, but nothing strong. Here's that look in Rome right now. I'll move the camera over a little bit. I've been seeing a few lightning strikes there in the distance from some of those storms that are moving through Floyd County right now, so just be aware of that. We are no longer in the risk for severe storms, but tomorrow we have that marginal risk that covers much of West Georgia into the Atlanta area. Then on Thursday, all of us are included in that level 1 risk. We will have a better chance and a better coverage of showers and storms here on Thursday. Tomorrow, though, off and on scattered showers, high temperatures up to about 81 degrees on the Wazometer. Our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day, we're going to give that a 5. High temperatures near 81 degrees. Now, you can see the rain chance is still with us tomorrow. Thursday is the day with the highest rain chance. Things finally start getting better on Friday with the rain ending early, highs near 79, and then just in time for the long holiday weekend, we are drying out. 10s on the Wazometer Saturday and Sunday. We go back to 9s Monday and Tuesday with just a few more clouds and temperatures getting up closer to 90 degrees.
All right, thanks, Chris. Folks, we're going to continue to follow the tragedy in Texas tonight. At least 19 children confirmed dead, killed in a shooting at the school, and the eerie text the gunman allegedly sent a friend days before the shooting.
The 11 Alive truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now...
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe.
Well, let's get back to that breaking news out of South Texas tonight, where at least 19 children and 2 adults were killed in a shooting at an elementary school. We now have a photograph of the suspected shooter, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. CNN is now reporting a former classmate says Ramos texted him a photograph of a firearm and a bag filled with ammunition just days before this attack today. Ramos was shot and killed when officers were responding to the school today. The shooting has many people feeling like something needs to change to end gun violence. And tonight, many people are talking about a senator from Connecticut who took to the floor demanding action.
What are we doing? Why are you here? If not to solve a problem as existential as this. This isn't inevitable. These kids weren't unlucky.
All right, so bringing it back to home here in Metro Atlanta, Gwinnett County Schools, the largest district in the state, says that it will have increased patrols tomorrow just as an extra precaution. Atlanta Public Schools also planning to ramp up security as well. Now, we reached out to the FBI in Atlanta, which says there are no credible threats in the state of Georgia right now.
Right now, we are tracking a couple of lingering showers across the Metro Atlanta area. Chris will have a final check of your forecast coming up next.
Exposing and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
we could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you
driving.
get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive.
The rain that's moving through the area right now, northwest Georgia, showers.